You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD, joined by the full crew, Chris Triplett, Nicole Hale, Chris McFeely. Welcome, gang.
Second week in a row.
Woohoo!
Yay.
It's like a real show. Yay! So it is Fanboy Versus the New 52. And no, it is not episode 68. I'm going to fix that as we're talking, but not really, because I can't anymore. Sorry, Brian. Brian made this really cool thing that goes at the bottom of the screen. And it has the episode number on it. And 3 episodes in, I've already screwed it up. Awesome.
68 was last week. It's 69.
Yeah, it's episode 69.
69,
Bow, bow. Yeah.
That's why it didn't work, right? Because we can't put 69.
Right, we don't want to put 69 in there
No.
to scare the children. So that'll be right next week. Because if I try to fix it now, then it's going to cause a big mess. And
Also known as the lost episode.
yeah. So double 68. So anyway,
It's like having a 13th floor. It just is not there.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly.
268.
What's up with that, right? I mean, it's like 12, 14. No, it's really 14 is the 13th floor. So
Don't say it out loud.
That's why you
Yes.
need to go watch or read 1408. It explains it all.
oh, 1408 is that the?
Well, it's the
'Cause
Stephen
it's-
King 1408. It's the 13th room on the 13th floor. Ooh.
Oh, great.
On the official 13th floor. Mm-hmm.
Right, because it's.
Looks like the 213s would cancel it out.
You would think so.
Yeah,
would
this would
just-
be actually a good.
It would just make it 26, and nobody cares about that.
So two negatives makes a positive in this situation.
Exactly.
I'm confused already.
Yeah, we have gone off the rails here. 30 seconds in, and we are gone, ladies and gentlemen. So, it's, New 52 started this week. We are going to review Flashpoint and Justice League at the end of the show. Because one bridges directly into the... No, they don't. But you... but it's kind of fun to go from the one to
Don't
the other.
buy the hype.
No. And I mean, and you know, okay, like I don't feel like I was falsely advertised. I mean, it says it all changes here on the Flashpoint deal.
That's
But it
not
doesn't
strictly
say-
untrue.
No, it's not entirely a lie. But it isn't like, you know, you get to the end of Flashpoint and then you pick up Justice League and you're like, okay, here we are. Because in fact, the end of Flashpoint, we'll talk about it, basically is way hell after Justice League because
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, here's the deal, and this is the thing. Talk about this as kind of a news concept because we have no other news. Not really. But this
Well.
the disjointed time bit of it is, I think, going to be the hardest. You know, it's like trying to explain to people. It's like, okay, well, Batman and Flash know each other, but Batman and Hal Jordan don't. It's like, well, no, it's the time.
No. It
It's
says
different.
right there in the first issue of Justice League 5 years ago. If you don't understand what's going on, you're dumb and wrong.
Uh-oh. I can't read, huh? That's where
First page, first panel, 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yep.
Yes, in like drowned out red lettering on the second panel.
I didn't bother to look close enough to read it.
I'm not saying it's not there, but I'm just saying like 5 years ago based on what? You know what I mean? It's just
Based
not,
on the fact that it's not now.
We might want to say this to the end of the show.
no, it'll be part of the review. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm just saying. So, the only bit of news that I think we could sort of find was that Marvel Films were doing what these shorts, I guess. They're doing a couple of short-ish films to sort of try to, in a jigsaw puzzle way, tie together the pre-Avengers movies.
I don't
Is
know
that
that
the
it's...
is that the Agent Coulson thing?
Yeah.
'Cause I haven't
Yeah.
watched any of those.
Well, they've only released one so far, which is it's going to be on the Thor DVD, which is out in like 3 weeks' time. But they've shown it on the internet in advance. It's called The Consultant, and it just bridges the end of Iron Man 2 with the Incredible Hulk. It's basically it's there to explain what Stark was doing in at the end of the Incredible Hulk. And that's that, really. It's as simple as that. Coulson meets with somebody else and they talk it over in a diner, which the diner appears to be in New Mexico, I think. So he's there at the time of Thor, maybe. Organizing it. And that's about the long and the short of it. It's a fun little thing. And that's all this. And there's gonna be another one on Captain America called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Thor's Hammer.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's gonna be on the Captain America DVD.
Nice. So that's it, really.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Oh, next week, X-Men First Class comes out.
Yes, DVD.
Yeah.
Coming to
Buying
a
that
torrent
day
near.
one.
Coming to a torrent near you. X-Men First
I don't,
Class.
I don't think that's out over here for a couple of weeks yet.
Yeah, Thor
It's on a
comes out,
Friday, too. It's next Friday. That's weird for us.
and
We usually
Thor
get stuff
comes out on the
Thursday.
19th, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's.
We got it's like later over here. You all have that. Well, I suppose it's only fair, really, isn't it? Got the film before you.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It's not going to happen with the next one, though. Kenneth Branagh's not going to be a part of it, so.
Yeah. Sad face. Nothing else happened this week? I mean, other than this whole 52 thing, which turned into a big deal. I mean, it was sold out freaking
Yeah, there was this thing that
everywhere. Like, the stories from New York were basically like everybody on the subway had a copy of Justice League. I mean, it was just
Oh, that's cool.
so.
maybe a
crazy.
slight exaggeration.
It
There,
may be
I think.
hyperbole. I don't know. But.
I mean, the sales figures right now have it breaking 200,000 worldwide. But remember that the sales figures charts that we normally see are just the numbers for North America.
Yeah. Now, is that now because somebody had mentioned too, and we kind of have touched on this, but there's a difference between retailer sales, like sales from the retailer to people, versus the sales of
Yes.
distributor to retailer. So,
Well, no, the actual chart that you see, the sales chart, the ones that all the numbers come from, that is the number of copies ordered by the retailer.
okay, right.
So, they may have some copies squandering away on their shelves doing nothing, but that's the number of copies that the retailer purchased. And it's only the number of copies purchased in North America. So this 200,000 figure that's being touted, that's apparently, I say apparently, that's a worldwide figure for Justice League. So we don't have the full story yet.
Yeah, and and we're gonna have to compile the digital sales and stuff on top of that
Yeah.
as well.
We'll
so,
probably hear nothing about that, to be honest. Well, no, we'll only hear about it if it's good.
Well,
hope-
yes.
It'll be the first
Hope we
time
hear about
anybody
it.
will. It'll be the first time anybody will ever bother to talk about digital sales. Number of.
I know they got me on digital, so.
Yeah. Well, and I think like I said, there's a way in which I would see myself doing digital, which is once the price dropped on stuff that I want to read but didn't necessarily want to buy. But yeah, this is something I wanted to hand. Now they did do a combo copy of this, correct? I mean, that's something that I did see in stores where they
I didn't get it.
I didn't
My store
either.
didn't have
I
it.
thought about it. It was just an extra $1 to get the digital copy as well. But Nicole, you not to. I mean, you got the digital copy of it. Not talking about the content wise, but as far as reading it digitally, how was that?
It was okay. Again, I'm one of these people. I like the feel of something physical. I like the smell of it. I'm a big smeller of things, and I know
We should do out of context on this show. That's just
I just like the smell of ink, and I just
Smells good.
It smells good to me. It was okay to read. It felt weird just having to scroll between, because when it comes on the panel, it's like scanned like back to back. It's not just a page at a time, so you're having to scroll back and forth. And sometimes if they have different panels, just like the panels are set up in a different way, it's kind of hard to read on the screen. But this, like I said, this is my first time I've read anything digitally. So
it wasn't. You controlled the movement through though, right? It wasn't like a motion comic where.
Oh no!
Where it's preset.
Instead of flipping pages, you just hit the arrow button.
Right.
So yeah,
And what did you read it on? Your computer?
yeah, my laptop.
So not like
Does it go panel to panel? Does it go like boom, 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 boom,
No,
boom,
it's
like that? Nope.
it's scanned as 2 different pages. As like if you took here, I'll get Journey to Mystery. Like they would scan it like this,
Oh,
Okay.
really?
and then you can see the divide between the pages, and so you just scroll over to the left hand side and read that, and then you scroll over to the right hand side, read that. But like I said, sometimes they have panels in different ways. It's sometimes you're just like, oh wait, did I miss something? You have to go back. So it's not like as smooth of reading. Again, this is my first digital that I've
a little bit of
read.
learning curve then maybe as well.
But you know what? The colors are great. I mean, it was the reading. I mean, the lettering was easy to read. It looks great on the screen. So
Cool.
Yeah.
So there might be a future in this.
yeah.
Sort of.
I mean, it's, the good thing is I didn't have to pay taxes on it. Yay!
No,
Hey.
I noticed that you said that, and it may just be like an Oklahoma thing, because some states you don't have to pay taxes on print media, because like I don't pay taxes on any print media that you buy here in Oklahoma, so we only pay the cover price for like magazines and comic books and stuff, so there is no sales tax on that, so maybe
So
they
that's
don't love
kinda-
you there in Utah.
Yeah. Right to my comic book shop. No, 'cause we don't have a lottery here, so we had to get taxes other places. So.
Well, we've only had a lottery for the last few years, so but that's been in place forever. Like even I remember being a kid and that was the deal. But anyway, so that's interesting. So cool. All right, that was the news. There you go. Sorry.
Yep, that's about it.
Oh, got our first digital download. It makes headlines.
So, okay. Well, I guess we'll review some comics then, and we will start out per usual with Chris Triplett. I'm very excited about what he's reviewing. So,
Because it was awesome.
because it was awesome.
Because it was a
Screw freaking Fear Itself nonsense. This is the event to watch here.
I know, it's like all the stuff with Fear Itself. Why didn't they just do a Spider Island event? I would have been way more into Spider Island event than Fear Itself.
Yeah, I mean, Fear Itself, it seems like the only interesting thing that happened is like Bucky died, and the other comics have been great. Don't get me wrong, like Avengers Academy and stuff. The offshoot stuff has been really interesting. Fear Itself, couldn't give a damn. This, amazing stuff. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, one thing I was going to ask is, did they do alternate covers? Because the cover I got, it's got Peter Parker shooting webs at Jekyll. I didn't know. It just
That's the
for
one I
some
got.
reason,
No, the
this
next one.
cover felt kind of weird, and I felt like, you know what I mean? It felt like, hey, this is maybe like an alternate cover or something. There's something off about it, but it's
I
awesome.
could see what
like
you
it.
mean. Yeah.
I know that there is
when I
an
saw it, I
alternate
thought
cover. Is it for the next issue? There's
There's probably alternate covers for all of them.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like there's a very special alternate cover where like some of the comic book shops actually got to do requests. They did
Is
like a
that where,
playoff of
anime, has some kind of terminal disease, is a very special cover, and they have to come to terms with it
no
in 22 minutes or less.
close, but no. No, it was based off of like the Amazing Fantasy 15, and you could put like your shop owner or whatever on the cover. And there's even like a variant cover that's supposed to be Dan Slott on it. And
I heard
stuff,
about
so-
it, but I didn't know what it was for.
Yeah, that's
I
what.
would love to see an Amazing Fantasy 15 where I could edit it and put like Darth Vader in there or something crazy.
That would be awesome. There might be
Howard
copyright
Duck or
issues.
something?
There
I don't
might
know.
be copyright issues with that, but that would be great.
You can't go wrong with Darth Vader.
Oh no! Anyway,
We're not going to talk
That's
about
good.
that.
yeah,
no,
no, that's a different show, which
it's a
is
different show. Yeah.
none of the ones on this network right now. But anyway,
Well, it's okay. Amazing Spider-Man. Okay, Spider Island is only in its second issue, and I am amazed at how much I love it.
I'm enthralled.
I mean, for God's sakes, it is part 2. I'm reading the cover and I'm thinking, why is this only part 2? They've given us so much
I know.
already, and it's amazing. It's so good.
Here's a fun thing that I only just noticed. You see the little part where An extra leg is appearing on the little spider logo with each part.
Yes, I did notice that.
Oh, I didn't
Actually
notice that.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought that was awesome. It's a nice
The
touch.
spider is going to become complete by the epilogue.
Sweet.
Because it's like 6 parts with an epilogue.
Yeah.
With a prologue.
They really should do it backwards. It should have legs and start losing legs to make you think somebody's going to die or something. And then you get to the end, it ain't got no legs.
Oh, I've got no legs to hold me. Oh, no.
Yeah. But the issue starts off where basically where the last issue left off, Spidey had jumped into the fight where the Avengers were fighting all the spider people, and he was getting the crap kicked out of him. So he's, they thought he was one of them. Nobody even thought, oh yeah, Spider-Man might be here. Let's just hit anybody that's wearing a Spider-Man costume.
Yeah. No.
Let's play it safe. Just hit anybody that's wearing one of these costumes. It would have been great if somebody would have just had like a spider web on their head or something. They just punched him or something because they just wouldn't even think. Like Hawkeye or something. They had like a spider web on his head and then like the thing just lays him out. But okay. Shang-Chi jumps in and basically saves Spidey, which that kind of happened at the last issue because Madam Web was trying to talk him out of it and said, whatever you do is, it's not going to help. Things are still going to happen. You can't change what's going to happen. So he basically saves him, and he tells the Avengers that, oh, he's really Spider-Man. And Spidey decides, he says, hey, give me a minute, I'll jump back into the fight. And Luke Cage basically says, there's too many damn Spider-Men already. Beat it, kid. You just get in the way. And so they kind of kick him to the curb because they don't want to hurt him, and they don't, want him to get in the way of everything. And you get this little thing where Spidey's like, fine, be that way. You can all play your little reindeer games. So he goes into the alley and he changes into his regular clothes as Peter Parker. And
I thought that was pretty cool because it finally made that ad for Spider Island make sense. The one that said, like, when everybody's Spider-Man, nobody is.
Yeah.
And that doesn't actually make any sense at all because I'm pretty sure, like, everybody is. It's a riff on The Incredibles, obviously. But, no, hey, look at that. They actually made it make sense.
Yeah.
No.
He can't be Spider-Man while all these other spider people are out there.
And just as a point, this is a great time to point out the art on this, which is just awesome. I love this alley shot of him, just defeated, putting his, street clothes back on, and just, I don't know, just little things, just like the floppy sock and the sad clothes. It's
an oddly pastel-y color scheme throughout the whole issue, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not so big on that. I wish it was brighter and more colorful because it's a sort of story that could really demand it. I mean, it doesn't suffer for it, but
Yeah.
I went through it and I was like, God, this is awfully gray. This is awfully beige.
Yeah, it is a lot of. I do see what you're saying in terms of the colors are a little muted. It could have gone for some bolder choices with color. Yeah, I'll give you that. But the art is still freaking.
Oh yeah, I know. Ramos, great.
Yeah, I think it looks fine. I mean, I didn't have no problems with it. Except for in one scene where it seems like Peter Parker, it looks like he's Mr. Fantastic the way he's drawn. It just looks like his body is stretching out more than it should. Like in this one right here.
I think it's just the style, but yeah.
Yeah, I know it's the style. It's just looking at it looks like he has rubber powers or something.
Well, maybe because in the FF, they're having all those Reed Richards. Maybe this is another one. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, working that into it also.
That's interesting. No, it's not.
So Peter Parker's feeling pretty down. He can't really be involved in helping protect New York. He runs into Nora Winters, who's basically, as we remember from the was it Deadly Foes of Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's on the street basically, getting the news story, and she needs him to basically work the camera, because she needs to be on the camera and delivering the news. And Mary Jane runs into him and is like, what are you doing? You're just standing there. He says, oh, not much. Just helping out my pal Nora. Nora Winters, reporter for the Daily Bugle. She's like, I understand, but shouldn't you be doing something? And he's like what? In case you haven't noticed, MJ, I'm just an ordinary guy, nothing special. Look around. And so she's like, yeah, she just continues to, just try to talk him into it. So she starts seeing scenes, she said, your girlfriend is, she's doing some amazing stuff over there. I mean, look at what she's doing. And Carly she's in there. She's like fighting them and helping out and working alongside Jameson's spider armor guys, the spider patrol people. And then
Spider Squad. Yeah.
Anti-Spider Squad.
Anti-Spider Squad. Yes.
Spider Squad. There you go. I was trying to think of something with Spider Slayer, but that wouldn't work too good with the last story the Spider Slayer was in. Jameson went on that. But so he looks around. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying this is a good time to pause and think about all of the money that Jameson has sort of fortuitously wasted on anti-spider stuff, because these are high-tech mobile suit armor things that he's had mothballed sitting around waiting for an opportunity to be used. Really? The economy's bad, people are out of work, and Jameson's spending millions, if not billions of dollars on an anti-spider robot army.
But because of Spider Island, I think he is ensured that he will win the next
second
election.
term.
Yeah. But that's just, it's if it had not, this is the thing that's going to get him reelected, because if it wasn't for this, they would have just been like, look at this huge waste of taxpayer dollars. What the hell is going on? So, yeah.
Yeah, but so Peter's looking around and he sees other people with powers, and he they're basically talking, and it says but it's like you said, look around, she's not the only one with spider powers. Talking about Carly, she's just the only one helping out, the only one being responsible, and it's showing people bending a metal rod or something, and somebody using their spider sense to dodge out of the way, and Peter's like, you're right, MJ, and then he gives her the camera. And then we get this scene, which was in Deadly Foes of Spider-Man, and I never paid attention to it. It's we got this little scene where Nora was out there, and Peter was up, on a light pole or something. And I was thinking, at the end I thought it was weird, because I was what's going on here? But they never really mentioned it. They didn't really talk about it. Now we see it actually in Spider Island, and what he's doing is he's telling everybody that he has spider powers. But the best thing about it is that everybody has spider powers.
Yeah, so it's no thing.
So he can give away his identity without giving away his identity now.
Yeah. Real quick, McFeely, can you try to reset your video? I'm sorry,
I've reset it twice.
I know it's looping. It's okay. We'll try it one more time.
You guys are all frozen on my end.
Oh.
No. Anyway, I'm sorry. So yes.
So he basically jumps up on the light pole, and he's rallying up the troops. He has this speech where he's talking about, he says, well, guess what? The rest of the world is wrong, because today, like a lot of you, I found out that I've got spider powers too, and I'm going to do my part. My name's Peter Parker. I'm a native New Yorker, and when I look around the city, I don't just see a bunch of jerks. You know what I see? Teachers, nurses, cops, parents, neighbors, friends, good people who give their all. Everywhere I look, I see heroes. Now let's show them this didn't just happen to the jerks. It happened to the real New Yorkers too, and that today we're not just heroes, we're superheroes.
Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
So he's rallying them, and we get a scene with the Jackal, where the Jackal's experimenting on his big...
I wonder, was this issue supposed to come out before the last week of tie-ins, or what? Because it made no sense to me to have Peter give that speech in Deadly Foes first. And this scene with the Jackal is explaining how Spider King is going around spreading all these little infectious spiders, which is what he's doing in Venom #6. And I don't, honestly, it doesn't read like I was supposed to read those first, and then here's the explanation.
Yeah.
It would seem like
I'm supposed to read this first.
Well, in Deadly Foes, the story wasn't really about Peter Parker. It was about Nora.
I know, but it was weird that was in it first. It completely dilutes the impact of it in this issue, I think.
Well, I kind of like it though because like I noticed that it's weird. He's sitting up there like he's Spider-Man, and they never really mention it. And now it's like I kind of knew it, and then I forgot about it. It's like, well, I thought maybe that was just something weird going on or something. I don't know. They never mention it, and then they come back to it in here, and it's kind of a neat little thing that it was there. But I see what you're saying, but it's just kind of neat that it was there, and now they go back to it, and we get the explanation as to what he was doing, and I don't know. It's just something that was kind of.
If it was just that one thing, I wouldn't really question it. But it's the fact that we've got this thing with Spider King as well.
Yeah.
I mean, did anybody read Venom #6?
No.
I've not. I've got it. I just haven't read it yet.
So do you guys know that they reveal who Spider King is in Venom #6?
No.
I didn't know that.
Okay, well they do. I'm not gonna. That's. I mean, it's an odd.
Yeah.
It's surprising to see it be revealed in a tie-in, but that happens. But if you haven't read it, I'll blow it for you.
Well, what? Well, no. You should. Because I'm not going to read it.
I think you need to go out and buy Venom #6, JD.
No. I have no interest in paying for that.
Well,
The knowledge is right in front of me.
Maybe Triplet wants to put his fingers in his ears.
Do I need to real quick?
Well, if JD wants to, I mean, I'll tell. But anybody who doesn't want to listen to the 3-week-old comic spoiler, fast forward this bit now, Yeah, you want to do it? I'm going to do it?
Okay, he's going to do it. Okay. Okay, this is a secret, people, so.
It's Captain America.
It's Captain America.
It's Captain America.
What?
Captain America. I'm not making it up.
Well, I'm sure you're not, but I'm saying what?
Damn it, I can hear you now. Damn it.
Oh. Well, my solid bet is that it's not actually him, but a clone. And that the because remember how the Jackal said when he was talking about the tube, the guy in the tube? He was talking about how he was the firstborn of the era. And then think about Deadly Foes, which ends with the mystery woman giving him a vial of something. Also, for the Triplet, did you hear who it was, or did you mention that?
I did hear.
Oh, you did. Okay. Yeah. Well, and that would seem to further for me. Did we talk about the possibility that the mystery woman was the queen? I think we brought that up when we were talking about the first part.
I think we talked about that. Yeah, like the queen from like
she and
Avengers
Rogers,
symbol thing.
Yeah, she and Steve Rogers had a thing.
Okay. So what I really want to know is how does the Scarlet Spider fit in all of this? That's what I really.
I'm gonna punch the next person who says something about the fucking Scarlet Spider. Ben Reilly crumbled to dust on panel.
Yeah, and I seem to recall Dan Slott saying in some sort of an interview that, hey, what could we do with all that dust? We could, like, jumble it up or something. It didn't say something like that. Turn it into a liquid or something and, like, make, like, a snowman out of it or something crazy.
Anyway, so there's a thing that happened in Venom #6.
Interesting.
Spider Island tie-ins. They're not wasted.
I need to read that. Damn it. Okay. Back to Amazing Spider-Man. So the Avengers and everybody are still fighting, and then, like, out of nowhere, they see somebody coming, and you get this panel where, everybody's got these shocked faces on, and Humberto Ramos's art, and Wolverine saying, "Kid, are you out of your flaming mind?" And we turn the page, and all those New Yorkers that, Peter was talking to are going down the street to kick the shit out of the bad Spider-Man.
Yay!
And that's great and all, but the most important thing is the Ghostbusters reference.
They're showing these guys how we do things downtown.
Oh, yeah.
All that other stuff is cool. The Ghostbuster reference is what matters.
That's cool.
Well, that's so quintessential New York.
So Peter Parker gets to get in the fight. Yay! He gets to help out, and they do beat the crap out of him. So yay! And then Jameson, he's congratulating everybody, and he's like saying, good job. He's proud of the New Yorkers and all this stuff. He says, and then he refers to the superheroes as nut jobs and capes.
Well, and there's a great part here where it's like Peter even asks Carly how he did, and she's like, I'll give you some pointers. You were okay. Like,
what's going on with Peter's little nyan cat face there?
Yeah, that's a little I think the I think the inker went a little wacky on that, but I don't know.
I love Jameson's comment though. Why in all my years in this city, I never thought I'd Parker with spider powers. Now I have seen everything.
Oh, if you only knew.
Yeah, but basically
did
Jameson ended.
And then Mephisto.
He did once, yeah.
Yeah.
And it basically ends where Jameson says that he deputizes every one of them, you know, after the fight. So what they do is they detain people that recently left New York. They may still be, you know, carrying the spider sickness. And they also close all the borders so that people can't get in and nobody can get out. So we get this little scene where Aunt May looks like she's, you know, detained and, you know, she doesn't have spider powers. We ain't got Aunt May, you know, flying around with the webbing or anything.
Aww.
But, you know, she's, you know, out of the story, I guess, you know, for the time being. And so, like, we basically just get, like, you know, Peter, you know, getting to spend time with Carly with the spider powers. They're having, like, a race to work or something. You know? Peter goes back to Horizon Labs because they're going to be working on trying to find the cure for all the spider powers. And he finds out that Reed Richards is there. Reed Richards is going to help him to cure. Everybody's like talking like Reed Richards is a rock star, and of course, you know, Peter Parker sees him like every day on the Future Foundation.
Yeah.
But he still plays it up like, you know, wow, yeah, Reed Richards, you know. But the most interesting thing about what's going on here is that he gets a sample of blood from Peter because he knows, of course, you know, he's Spider-Man and that maybe it'll help to find a cure. But he's been inside of lab number 6, you know, our mysterious, you know, lab technician guy that we don't really know who he is. You know, we don't know. I don't think we've seen him or anything, have we? I mean, we don't even have to
honestly thought that the guy who was in lab number 6 was supposed to be Tiberius Stone. Remember when they had, like, early on, we saw Tiberius Stone was working with the Kingpin.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we talked about how Tiberius Stone was actually like a 30-something industrialist who was a Tony Stark character who had been retrofitted into an ancestor of Spider-Man 2099 by some handbooks or something, but drawn in that comic as a young little nerdy guy with a bow tie and all the rest of it. I really just assumed he was supposed to be the guy in Lab 6, but the way they're playing it, I guess he's not.
No, they're playing it like it's more important. I mean, it's whoever it is, you know, it's pretty important because Reed's talking about it, and Peter's basically not going to be working on the cure.
And they haven't even confirmed here if it. I mean, and they actually make the point to confirm that it's not. They haven't even confirmed if it's a man or a woman. So
no, we don't know.
We don't even know the sex of the number 6.
Whoever it is, he doesn't mention it, but Peter wants to be involved because he thinks he can help with the cure. You know, he says basically, you know, who knows more about this than me? And he says, I'm an expert when it comes to Parker DNA. And then Reed says, yes, so are they. So whoever's behind door number 6, you know, knows a lot about Peter Parker DNA, which what in the hell is going on? Who is behind door number 6 is what I'm wondering.
A mystery? A real mystery?
It's Ben Reilly. It's only Ben Reilly because Ben Reilly's coming back with Spider-Man.
You know, when he said, like, you know, this person knows a lot about Parker DNA, I was thinking it's a Miles Warren clone. You know? Because he's got all those clones. Remember, he's got all those clones. That he basically just does all his dirty work. They don't wear jackal costumes. They're just like in, you know, lab coats and stuff. I was thinking, well, maybe that's it, but it's got to be bigger than that, doesn't it? I mean, it can't really be.
Seward Trainer seems like a decent bet as well.
Yeah.
He was the scientist who's Lady Dr. Octopus's dad, who was Ben's scientist friend. Mark Clone Saga Detritus.
But I am really interested. I want to know who's behind that door. That's really awesome.
Will we find out by the end of Spider Island? That's the question.
I don't know.
I think not. I think that will be saved. I don't think that'll happen in Spider Island.
That's the interesting thing.
How many issues to Spider Island?
6 plus a prologue and an epilogue.
Yeah. Which makes 8, which is 8 because it's
that works.
It's 8.
You know, like 8, like the legs. Never mind.
So Peter's gonna be working. He's not working on the cure.
She got it. She got it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay!
only
And
25
there it was. Okay, she's with us now. All right.
Come on, I've hardly had any sleep.
She's really sitting there like, I don't understand. 8 with Spider-Man? Why? What's the
What could
connection?
possibly be the?
Understand.
I was so embarrassed.
Look at the face. It's like, woof.
Oh
It's
my
on fire.
gosh.
That's awesome. Anyway, I'm
Okay.
sorry, Triplet.
That's all right. So Peter's not going to be working on the cure, but he's being tasked with retrofitting equipment, like basically old supervillain weapons that the police have to be used by the spider people, the good spider people, I guess, the people that Jameson deputized. But we go to a scene and we see another person with spider powers running from someone, and it turns out it's Anti-Venom.
Doesn't Humberto Ramos just draw fantastic anti-venom?
Oh my god.
I mean, he draws everything pretty awesome, but like that is like especially awesome. Look at that.
And I now like Anti-Venom, so I was glad to see him pop up. I liked him since the last 3-part story that he was in, because he was awesome in that one.
And he's got a totally logical role to play in this story. As well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because he can take away spider powers. I mean, he cures it like it's a disease. So now we're reminded that he can do that. So there's literally a cure walking out there. They just. I guess eventually somebody's going to figure it out, but Madam Web's like watching it as he cures this guy who's very unhappy that he's no longer got spider powers. He's just, man, whoever you are, you suck.
That was great. That was just like,
Why would anybody not be happy about this situation?
yeah.
It's like the name's Brock. Remember it. One day you'll be thanking me for this. One down, thousands to go. I love Eddie Brock now. He's like my favorite character.
But that bit of dialogue is just great, because who wouldn't just say that? You suck, man. Come on.
It's my mission, my reason for being, to save you all. God, Anti-Venom is so freaking awesome. But Madam Web's like watching, of course, Madam Web being mysterious and possibly evil. And she hints at that Anti-Venom is needed. And so does the regular Venom needed. But she says, but for one of you, she says, this is where your story ends. Kind of like, hinting that, hey, one of them's going to die or something's going to happen to him or something. So I wonder, is the Venom comic getting canceled? Because I'm not
I
thinking
don't know, but I mean, it's finite by design, though, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Brock and the symbiote were put back together.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. That could happen.
And we get a scene
In
where,
like
Venom
7
is
years.
jumping in there, too. Yeah, they really need to put the symbiote back on Eddie Brock. I mean, I like Anti-Venom. I like what they're doing with him. But I think maybe I would like it better if he was actually Venom again and he wasn't this, Power Ranger-looking Venom. Yeah. So basically, like I said, Parker is fixing old villains' equipment, because you got stuff like Doc Ock's robots and Hobgoblin or Green Goblin equipment or some stuff that's in there. He's fixing it so that the spider people can use it. He gives Carly a web shooter, and Carly basically tells him that she's figured out, who's behind all this. It's obviously the Jackal. Who else would it be? Spider-Man just got this, shocked look on his face. He's like, idiot! Of course! Why didn't I see that?
Which is great, because it's totally plausible. She's a police detective. Duh, she's gonna figure that out. It's like, awesome.
So they go to his last known hideout, I guess, looking for him, and it looks like he's not there. But there are people that are watching them from the rafters. And who is this bunny-looking woman? Should I know who that is?
That's the White Rabbit.
That's the White Rabbit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's the Scorcher there above him in the bubble head, and I believe that's of all characters. I believe that's is that Chance, Iron Man Michelini villain. I think it was
Oh, I
Chance.
know who you're talking about. Yeah, I remember that guy. Okay. I don't know,
I'll have to
but they're
check
waiting
that.
for him,
Yeah.
and it's ended, and it says to be continued. Oh, no. But good issue. I enjoyed it. Awesome.
Now, ask this question: how many pages is this?
Yeah. Bring this up now. We can build to it.
What?
No, I know what you're saying. I agree with you. We can
Versus-
build up to the.
How many pages is this versus how many pages is Justice League?
Yes.
Damn, you knew where I was going. Anyway.
I didn't.
Yeah, well.
I
don't know
thought you
anything
were
at this point.
actually. I thought you were referencing Fear Itself. How many pages they published of Fear Itself, and how many pages?
Well,
is
no,
this?
it's just, I think it's just a difference of, like, I don't know, it's like there is so much story jammed into this issue versus
I'll tell you what,
other things.
I did just actually check it. It's actually 22 pages. I hadn't been paying attention, but Spidey has now unfortunately been downsized from a 30 story pages to a 22-page story book, and it's still maintaining the $4 price tag. But I actually had to count that because if you'd asked me off the top of my head, I would have thought that was 30 pages.
Yeah, easy. I mean, it felt like 30 pages worth of story. Especially, and how many pages is Justice League? Is it 22?
We'll get to that later.
Okay, we'll get to that later. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You don't want to start. You don't want to light the fuse. too
right.
soon.
It's a preview for the coming review. We'll just put it that way.
I have a feeling for
So-
some reason JD's gonna knock out Justice League in round 1, like 5 seconds into the fight. For some reason.
JD
It's gonna
versus
be
Justice
like a
League.
knockout. He's not gonna get back up.
Nothing happens. Boom. Okay, we're done. Sorry. No, it's not gonna be that
Okay.
bad. Anyway, wow. No, I
Yeah.
mean this is like this is how you do an event. I mean,
Yeah. Sounds
great.
there's mystery, there's cool stuff happening, there's good characterization, good character moments. The art is amazing. I mean, this is, like I said, screw Fear Itself. This is
yeah.
great. I don't care about Fear Itself anymore. I am interested in what's going on in Spider Island.
I should probably pick this up then.
You should.
Yeah,
This is good stuff.
For God's
Uh-huh.
sakes, it has a hashtag on its cover. You know it's important.
Yeah. I
Is
mean,
there a hashtag on the cover of Justice League? I think not.
I didn't see one.
There really
No.
should be.
Yeah.
It really should.
You know,
but there
that's
isn't.
I will give that to Marvel. I mean, in terms of like their social media connectivity stuff has been pretty darn good.
I mean, to be honest, there's a slightly cynical edge to it, but Spider-Man gets away with it because for a long time now it's been using for its recap pages that whole iPod internet setup viral video hashtag Twitter thing
Mm-hmm.
on the first page when you open the comic, so it gets away with it a little better than something casually might just do by throwing it up there.
Well, and it helps, like I said, too, when your creator is really on top of it. I mean, Slot
Yeah.
is all over Twitter, so I mean,
Yes.
Jeff Jones is too busy.
yeah, he's got,
Yeah.
he's too busy writing everything for DC.
All I've ever seen him
So.
tweet about is slushies, anyway.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, he'll every once in a while.
But I mean that. But like whenever he got the promotion, like he basically disappeared off Twitter.
yeah,
he is legitimately too busy.
yeah, which is sad. But
Aww.
and I'll go with that, Cassius. He thinks I should have my own hero clicks. Which
Awesome.
that would be kind of cool.
I agree.
I'm not gonna lie about that. So
Fanboy Versus expansion.
expansion set for hero clicks.
Awesome.
JD Church, just me.
Oh.
Never.
No, mine would just be me with like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I've never even played hero clicks. I don't even know how that works. Anyway, so there you go, Spider Island. Anything else on that? Anybody going once, going twice? Sold.
It's good.
It's good stuff. You should buy it.
It's good.
On to Nicole then.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't pick up anything really epic.
Riveting.
Oh, I say that because the comic I'm reviewing is epic. So,
I like to pronounce that Epoch, but
Epoch, yeah. Well, because I really didn't have a whole lot to pick up this week. So I found this on the shelf. It was a number one. I'm like, I'll try it. Don't know anything what's going on with this comic. It's just like it's a number one.
you're
I'll
so
try it.
brave. I can't hardly do that. I'm like,
I know.
yeah. It's like,
Stuff. I'm one of these people. I like to change up stuff. And you know what? I've read a lot of good number ones, And unfortunately, there's never like a number 2 to come out. It's just like, where's the next one?
Well, that does happen.
Yeah.
It's like
okay, this is really good.
it's like that TV show The Cape, you know? The first episode happened, and then it was like, oh, was there? Oh, there's no more. Oh, okay, that's
But
done.
was the first episode good though? Is that what you're saying?
No, it wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't.
There's one that I reviewed. I think it was on the first show I was on. It was Whispers in the Walls. I love that comic book series, and it's been on hold for like 5 months now. And it's just like, I need to know what the hell happened. So
Yeah, some of those go.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, that's what you risk when you pick up these number 1s that could be really good, but nothing happens. But this one was quite interesting. Like I said, I had no idea what was going on here, and you just see a detective out explaining that the people, there's monsters out there. There's monsters, and there's people that you don't know who they truly are.
Real.
Monsters are good. Oh, you watch Dr.
I'm just imagining some guy on the street. Hey, the monsters are real, okay? And they're out there, and they're pretty cool. Have a nice day.
The very first thing you see is just the lone detective trying to find out who pretty much ripped these 2 to complete shreds. I mean, they're not looking too well. Okay, and then you see the next scene after he explains that, you know, the people that you're probably the closest to, they could also be, you know, these hidden monsters. But they're back at the agency, and their main suspect is,
Wait a minute. You gotta. So the people that you could be close to could be monsters as well.
Yeah, it says they're really dangerous. The ones that look just like everyone else, they're your friends and neighbors. So
the guy that makes your Subway sandwich, you could be afraid because he might be a dangerous monster.
And you usually don't know
I'm
the
never going back to Subway.
I know.
you usually don't know the truth about him until it's already too late. So that's like the big thing. No,
I didn't want jalapenos on my Subway sandwich. Ah, it was a monster.
Their main suspect is this congresswoman, and she's been interrogated for 4 hours now, and they're trying to get questions from her, and they're doing the good cop bad cop thing here, and so she's like, oh fine, you guys need to know the answers. And so then they go over to, she pretty much blabs everything, and they go over to the main suspect's house. Well, guess what? He's not too alive either. So when they find him, they're just like, okay. I mean, he basically has his guts ripped out. His rib cage is all exposed, and I don't know. If
Suicide.
It's kind of, yeah. I mean,
He committed suicide. That's what.
Obvious.
That was
Well-
a swamp gas.
Yeah, suicide by swamp gas is what.
Weather balloon.
swamp gas is this mysteriously blue creature that comes barreling out of the closet. He's the one guy that just took this other guy out, and he's crying out to the name of Michael. Michael needs to help. Da, 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 da. Well, come to find out in the next scene, Michael does show up, and da, da, da. What's most famous Michael, you know? But probably the Archangel
Michael Knight.
Yeah, I was going with Michael Knight.
Michael Myers.
Yeah,
Michael
Michael Myers.
Knight.
Come on, kids, we're gonna take out these monsters.
Yeah. Well, so for the next few pages, you see.
I'm just seeing it in my head. Knives through the door.
It's on his watch. Come on, kid. Michael, I don't believe in monsters.
Oh my goodness.
It writes itself. Where's that comic?
I know, right?
See?
Image, I'm looking at you.
I would probably look more at Dynamite.
It's Hop Cow. I'm sorry. Like,
It would also featuring versus Army of Darkness.
IDW.
Knight Rider versus Army of Dark.
Oh my God. Yes. I'm sorry, Nicole. You read a comic. What was it?
Yeah,
That's actually pretty good. I want to read this comic.
We're writing a much better comic than what you read. I'm sorry.
Then next few pages, you see, Archangel Michael and this demon fighting, and all of a sudden, a ninja out of nowhere, don't know who the hell this is, kills
A
Michael.
ninja?
A ninja!
I think Michael Knight was more plausible.
A ninja kills Archangel Michael. I mean, Michael's
You
been
know,
around for
when I got up
many-
this morning, I thought to myself, you know what would be really awesome? If a ninja killed an archangel. I want to hear a story about that.
There you go.
That sounds like a movie I watched on Netflix the other day.
No, right? That's like the kind of stuff that, like, Gail Simone watches. Like, Ninja versus Michael.
That would be awesome. You gotta hear
Ninja versus Angel. Who will win?
panels, though.
Oh, my God.
Maybe that's a Deadliest Warrior episode.
Right. We're gonna pit an archangel, a hand of God, against a ninja.
It's like Ninja beats everything on Deadliest Warrior, so it makes sense. That
Crush the egg and blow it in his face.
I don't actually know what this show is. I can...
I'm sorry, Nicole. You read a comic. What was it?
No, I really want to see this. But okay, so our detective is in the hospital because he got very badly injured while this is going on.
Hilarious.
And it's hilarious. Well, sorry. His estranged father comes to actually see him. Sorry.
Because he knew he was there?
Yeah.
I know I haven't been around your whole life, but I heard you were attacked by a ninja.
Well, that's not too far from what he
I'm sorry, hang on, wait. I missed the start of this. Who published this?
You already said it. It's Top Cow.
Oh, it was Top Cow?
awesome.
You know,
Yes! I
Who's
win.
the creative team on this?
Oh my gosh. Kevin McCarthy and Paolo Pantalena is what it
Know
says.
people.
God.
I'm surprised not. I'm sorry.
So what we do is we get high before we write,
Yeah.
then-
Well, it's.
and then we'll
So
call
his
it.
Night
strange
Rider.
stuff-
Oh no, man, that would be too much.
That's too crazy. Let's get a ninja.
Yeah, that's more relatable.
Everybody loves ninjas.
Well, his estranged father is there. You don't realize. I mean, he's trying to get him to talk, and he says, "I don't want to see you get out." And you find out his estranged father is none other than his name is Gabriel. Who could that be? Gabriel, another archangel.
What?
Whoa, no. And so, yeah, and then you just basically see Jonah. He's the guy that's injured. He wants to go and see the dead body of Michael. And the Moore guy actually knows him because he's a cop. And to come to
Like the
find out,
biblical-
yeah. So,
Wasn't Christopher Walken in this movie?
It sounds like
I just think I saw this movie. I mean, minus the ninjas, but
I haven't been around your whole life, but I heard you've been attacked by a ninja.
I thought that was pretty cool. I brought you a cowbell.
Wow.
well, why
The ice is gonna break.
Oh my god.
And we've lost
Why
Triplet.
did you have to do that? I was drinking my drink. I was spitting.
Nick, live on it.
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we're gonna get through this issue, Nicole. I swear, I promise.
No,
Okay.
it's totally fine. It's totally fine. So he finds these strange markings on the back of Michael, these two big incisions. What could those be? No,
They
that
are
can be where
laying this on with us. Bad, aren't they?
yes, they are. And so, well, so he leaves and he goes and he follows his estranged father. He's like wondering what his father's up to. A long story short, they go to a club. He goes into this strange, looks like a Chinese restaurant, and there's thugs out there that won't let him in, but they know his father, And so he tries to do the cop thing and shows his badge. He's like, whatever, that doesn't mean anything. So he gets beaten up by these 2 thugs. He's like, oh, fine, I'll just go the back way. So he sneaks into the kitchen because, of course, there's not going to be any security in the kitchen.
Oh.
Yeah. And then all
Usually
of a
there's
sudden-
a cook that throws a knife at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're good with those.
the thugs find him again.
Wow.
They start beating him up. So they're like, we told you, we warned you, now you can't go back, so this is it. But his father stops him, says, okay, do you want to know the truth? It's about the time. This is why I wasn't here for you. Da, da, da. He opens up the door, and they see, this is the end of it. So, a bunch of other archangels, demons, creatures of the night. I mean, there's pretty much everything here. And then he basically said, and just like that, I'm on Nervous Kid all over again. So
This movie had Adam Sandler in it.
I think so. And at 2:30, you're shoving a pineapple up Hitler's ass.
yeah, it
All the way up his ass. 20 years.
this is what I get for just basically pulling a comic off the shelf, not knowing anything about it.
That is
I
the
can
best
see where-
review that we've done.
Yes.
Where it could be good, but it, like you said, they lay it on thick, especially with the whole religious aspects of it. Yeah.
I mean, that is like, I have read a million comics like that.
Yeah.
Like, that
It's
is like the
Oh,
most-
yes. Very exciting religious overtones. Yeah.
Oh my god, maybe they're gonna come, like, maybe he's lost his horn and his name is Gabriel, I have to get that back, and it'll be used to raise demons or something like that.
Mhm.
Some
So
real,
if it,
real
if it
clever
had more
bit.
Knight Rider, you'd pick up issue 2, is what you're saying.
Exactly. If it was...
That's the only reason why I want to know. I want to know who the frick the ninja is.
You know.
Who's this ninja that can kill archangels? Yeah. So
Wow.
yay, epic.
Yeah, epic something. That was the most epic review we've ever done.
I think
Um,
so.
That was something else, kids. Put that in the books.
That was fun. Michael Knight would be awesome. Maybe it is Michael Knight. You never know.
See, that would be much better. Did you check the? You got to check the watch. If he has the watch, that's the.
Wait. Let me go back and see Michael here.
Was he
Let's see.
he passed out on the floor? That way you know if it's Michael Knight.
Right. That happens too.
Cassius posits that the ninja may have been Lucifer.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I think-
because the devil
Of course.
and ninjas, you know.
The
Yeah.
ninjas, yeah, just
Right.
like they're like that, you know.
Right. They go together
Yeah.
like cream cheese and cornbread.
Yes. I
Not
doubt
even-
I'll be picking up number 2 of this. But you want to know something? This wasn't the worst comic I read this week.
Wow.
Wow. Well, that
What
says
was?
something. Yeah, really.
I
So
picked
did you-
up a
So did you
dollar-
pick
a
up the
dollar
next issue of Butcher Bay? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
The rinse. Wait, no, tell us. Okay, tell us. I want to know about that. Let's take a minute. If that
Yeah,
wasn't the
yeah.
worst, tell us a little about that.
To tell you the truth, I didn't even finish it.
Oh,
What is
okay.
it?
What's it about? Who's
I'll-
it by?
It's The Rinse. It's by Gary Phillips and Mark Lamming. It was only $1, and it didn't even pick my interest up in 5 pages. They basically tell you what the rinse is. It's basically, to wipe yourself clean of a crime that you've done while you're picking up money. Yeah, it's just confusing. He talks about all these different aspects of his life. It's like I said, I haven't even finished it. It tells you something.
No,
Rinse.
the rinse.
The
It's very
rinse.
Quentin Tarantino-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
Rinse.
Maybe after the show I'll go back, and if it changes, I'll come back next week and say, you know what? I was wrong. But it was
First
only
you
a book.
lather, then you rinse.
Yeah.
Then
it was only-
Then
So-
you repeat. Wow. I feel good now. I feel good. That was a good review.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fully epic.
I feel
Really?
strong now. I feel like we can go on with the show.
You've got the power of Michael with you now.
I know.
'cause-
Michael
yeah,
Knight. I feel like punching guys in the face.
I would feel more empowered with
Yes.
the power of Michael Knight.
Yes. I feel ready to punch people in the face with my white fro. So.
Right.
Anyway.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I guess that'll be on to me then. With Journey into the Mystery 626.1.
What?
Yes. So
I thought we were done with point one.
no,
Are we
we're still doing
getting-
point one, sir.
No, they're pottering along.
Yeah.
They've solicited point one, issue 1 for November, a one-shot trailer book for what's coming from Marvel next year.
What?
So
Dumbest title ever.
I didn't notice chronology on this. Did this say when this?
Yes, this takes place between panels 4 and
There it
5
is.
on page 21 of issue 622. You can't
I-
honestly ask for anything more precise than
Yeah,
that.
there it is.
Yeah.
I just saw that as I asked that question, so now I feel stupid. But page 20, Journey 622. So that was a couple issues back. Cool.
I say it was the first. It's either the first or the second.
I'll have to go back and look now.
I think it was while Loki was doing his little search. In the first issue.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it was.
What the thing is, I think Loki's been watching too much reading too much Facebook or MySpace because he's got the duck lips going on the cover.
The what?
Do you notice that? The duck lips.
Oh, right. That's a thing, isn't it? I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't do that. That and planking, and I don't do that either. So.
Yeah, 622 was the first. Just did a quick check.
Okay, sweet. So very good. So this is like a point one thing. Nice. Anyway, I don't.
I mean, it doesn't come out whenever a point one logically should, since the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since the next one is almost certainly the final tie-in, maybe it would have made sense. Save it for next, but point one and sense have not gone together. Hand in hand.
This has been more of like an editorial thing. Like, okay, your point one is due this month.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily.
Let us just set that aside and
Right.
talk about the thing itself.
So in this issue, I don't feel like going too in depth because there's a lot of cool stuff in here, but it's very talky.
Yes, they're ninjas.
Yeah.
So
Michael Knight?
no, unfortunately, there's no ninjas.
Michael
Oh,
Knight?
ninjas.
But what Loki is doing here is basically calling on some very ancient magic to summon a
teller.
a teller from the Eldritch realm. And what's funny is, of course, you have Icole here that's basically telling him, like, look, this is a bad idea, and you shouldn't be doing this. And he's like, yeah, I know, but I'm doing it anyway. And he's like, well, look, I'm here to advise you. And he's like, yeah, and I took your advice, and I disregarded it. He's like, because I think that my predecessor was too calculating. He thought too much. And I'm going to try to be just a little bit reckless. Which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that. So he summons this teller. And what he's interested in is he wants to know sort of the mind of the other Asgardians as to their opinion of him, why they don't trust him. And it really, I mean, from there, a large bulk of the middle of this is you see the Warriors 3 having a bit of a chat, and they're, talking about Loki, and so he kind of gets to see in on their conversation. And then another conversation between Sif and Valkyrie, and they're talking about Loki as well. And then finally a conversation between Heimdall and Odin about Loki. And I think the interesting bit that Loki picked up, and again, it tells you how, how calculating and smart Loki is that he picks up, he doesn't focus on the thing which is the stuff about him, because he kind of figures that. But what he's interested in is the effect it's had on Thor. That it's caused a lot of these people to question Thor's decisions. And so he's interested in, in that bit of information. And then the one thing he does leave out is Thor's opinion. He literally says because he wants that to be a mystery to him, like that he wants that to be something that he doesn't know, as far as he doesn't want to peer into Thor's mind to know, how Thor feels. So then after he gets all this information, he's basically like, all right, cool. Well, thanks for that. And I'll see you later. And the teller's like, no. No, that's not how this works. You have to pay me, and I'm going to take your story. And Loki's like, no, that's cool. I'm going to go ahead and keep that, and you have fun. And that also doesn't work.
Loki
of
is such a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, that's
No,
cool.
I get everything I want, and I'm not going to give you
Right.
anything in return.
I get all
No.
my stuff, and then you get nothing. But so in the midst of this, of course, the teller's like trying to, steal his story. There's images that are popping up too, and I don't know what all of those are, but as he's sort of binding him and stealing his story. And Loki actually cries out to Thor at one point, and which the teller sort of laughs off, and then Thor shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sort of beats his ass.
Because that's what Thor does.
And the teller is basically, well, I would have known you were coming if I would have been paying attention. But he retreats for now and basically says he's going to bide his time and wait and take Loki's story later. And then there's a short exchange between Thor and Loki about, Loki not being so brash and, not making choices, and Thor makes him promise that they'll be more prudent and more forthcoming, and Loki's response is perfect, which is, McFeel, you have to read. I can't do Loki.
I promise, though, to the extent that I can.
Yes. Brilliant. So, anyway, great issue, worth a read. I mean, as far as point one goes, I thought it was pretty good. Self-contained story.
Art, by the way.
It's not by the regular writer.
No.
No, it's not by Kieran Gillen. It's by
But
Rob
it's
Roby.
Yeah.
Pascal Ferry did the art.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
It's
always liked
beautiful.
Pascal Ferry. Pascal Ferry did the first story arc on Fraction Store, the World Eater storyline. I've always liked his art.
But
Normally a different writer is definitely a suggestion that a point one is a bit of a pointless throwaway. And while it is, it's good. Like that Thor point one, which was like a throwaway as well, but it was good. It had the Grey Gargoyle in it.
Big Gargoyle.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good self-contained story. I mean, again, if we're going back to the point and saying that the purpose of the point one is to get you interested in the comic and want to read it, I think this would do that. Like, if you hadn't been reading Journey, and you're like, oh, if this is about Loki and this is kind of interesting, it's a young Loki and he's a little bit different, and blah. So I think it succeeds in that respect. So.
I'm not sure it's the most accurate representation of the series because it's by a different writer, so it lacks the sense of humor, which is one of my favorite things about Journey into Mystery. There's really very little in the way of wit in this, in the way that Gillen's writing is conveying it, but it does manage the eldritch mysticism very nicely, and the whole power of words, and we didn't say it there. Like when the teller says he's going to take a story for a story, he's going to take Loki's story, by which he means he's going to take the story of his life now before it has been lived.
Right.
He will untell his tale, as it were.
It's like the Blink
He's
Angels.
going to feed upon it. Yeah.
I love the design of the teller. I think is really cool. I like it myself.
And again, the art is really great. So, yeah, I think, like I said, I think as a point one, thumbs up. I mean, it's we've read worse point ones. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's
hell
not-
yes.
So, but it's nice. Like I said, is it necessary for the rest of the journey? No. Journey and mystery stuff? No. But it's a good story. So.
I do love the ad for the next issue. So the devil walks into a bar.
Yeah, it was just
the Journey
so
into Mystery next issue pages are always some of the best stuff in the comic.
Yeah.
It's like when Loki goes into limbo, the tagline for the next issue is "How low can you go?" Or feeling hella good when he went to hell, and stuff like that.
Oh man,
that's exactly the sense of humor I'm talking about.
Yeah. So good stuff. All right. Well, Chris, that's you then.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about Secret Avengers.
Yay!
Now, I've been talking on and off about Secret Avengers recently because it's been in a bit of a state of flux. Brubaker left, then Nick Spencer did 4 issues, including a point one, another collection of random one-shot stories. And now Warren Ellis is taking over for another collection of random one-shot stories. Lovely, lovely cover on this by John Cassidy.
Yeah.
Sideways.
Boy, that
Beautiful.
catches your eye,
Real,
too.
yeah, totally. Real Bondy-looking spies against a giant logo sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, the story itself was very Bondy, now that you mention. I was about to say that before, before you started talking about it. But yeah, it seemed kind of very James Bondish, too.
Well, I seem to keep saying it every time that a new writer comes onto Secret Avengers, but this first issue is probably the best issue of Secret Avengers so far. It's called Subland Empire, and it stars Steve Rogers, the Beast, the Black Widow, and Moon Knight. Just those, none of the other members of the team. So again, much like what Spencer was doing, much like what
Brie Baker.
no,
Brubaker?
not Brubaker.
Oh, no. Nick Spencer?
No, not Nick Spencer. It was in another comic.
I can't read your mind.
I got it. Much like what Sean McKeever did with the team in Onslaught Reborn, Onslaught Unleashed, to say nothing else on the quality of that miniseries. It's picking and choosing the members of the team and actually giving them a point of being there and using them properly as characters, which is just something Brubaker was never able to successfully do in his year on the book. I
love how they list them at the beginning. They're like Steve Rogers,
Steve Rogers, Super Soldier, the Beast, Mutant Genius, Black Widow, Super Spy, Moon Knight, Crazy Person.
Yes.
And I'm assuming this new tagline is going to be on the book for as long as Ellis is. Run the mission, don't get seen, save the world.
I hope so, because I like that.
Really, really going for the secret, the real espionage stuff, where Brubaker never did. You know, as much as the idea was that they were supposed to be running covert missions, they went to Mars and they fought ninjas, and that was it. Not in the same, not ninjas on Mars, but it was a different.
Right. They went to Mars.
Awesome.
It wasn't even that interesting, you know. Two separate.
Ninjas on Mars? That's awesome. No.
Right?
Yeah, that's too great.
And then Michael Knight shows up.
Yeah, that's great.
To fight a ninja.
I don't say it in this comic, but there is a very cool car. So the story has Steve Rogers, Beast, Moon Knight, and Black Widow descending into a subterranean city created by the Secret Empire. Now, the Secret Empire were, well, it's kind of what it sounds like. Old Captain America, secret organization determined to, I don't know, restore America's values, something, I don't know.
They were bad guys.
Yeah, Richard Nixon was their leader, but they didn't say it in words. So the Beast has picked up trace emissions of Von Doom radiation. And they say Von Doom radiation like a dozen times in the issue. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Which is the radiation given off by a Von Doom time platform. They've detected that there's a Von Doom time platform somewhere in this subterranean city that they need to take.
Yeah, all they had to do was say Dr. Doom time floor, and I was like in for the issue.
Yeah, basically. The first thing they do when they descend through the city is they find a Cadillac sitting on top of a building, and Hank lived.
That's where I always park my Cadillac.
Of course. Well, they're going to need it for transportation. So the Beast just pops the hood, takes a look, and turns out it's atomic powered.
Oh my god.
Yep.
He says it will probably run for another 200 years. It's an atomic Cadillac.
And then we get it it's a very expressive art in this issue. Jimmy McKelvey is the artist, and I know the name, but I couldn't tell you exactly what he's done offhand. But very fun and expressive artwork in this, And they get a little cutback to the Avengers being handed out flechette ammunition, which just delivers a nerve agent that'll put out enemies for 6 hours instead of bullets. So it's a non-lethal weaponry. And they're I'm just trying to figure out the simplest way to describe this. What does Beast say? Shock toxin is a nerve agent. One flechette will put a healthy bull into a chemical coma for 6 hours. Hapless test subjects report nightmares on a scale usually known only to those who recreationally smoke cleaning products. The flechettes will dissolve in a few minutes of contact with air. Untraceable. Secret bullets for Secret Avengers. Ooh.
Yeah.
And Captain America's a little tiny one, shaped like his original shield, and Moon Knight has a bigger gun and says, "I don't understand mine." Well, yours fires flechettes machined to the size and weight of your signature crescent darts, Mr. Spectre. Yeah, I get that. I just don't know why mine isn't the same as Rogers. Well, Commander Rogers is a super soldier who can master any weapon in seconds. You are a borderline psychotic who wears a white bag over his head in public. I imagine everyone thought it'd be best to make things easy for you.
See, I want this to be a running thing with Warren Ellis issues, where basically he just calls him crazy. You know?
Yeah, well, that's the whole issue, you know. But then Moon Knight gets to do like really awesome things. Moon Knight, aerial recon, dives off the top of the building, and his cape unfolds into a hang glider in this lovely double-page spread.
Oh, that's beautiful.
He's like a little seagull swept out, a little white V swept out across this plain grey 1950s vision of the future. Then they get in the Cadillac. They're on the roof. They are on a parking garage, by the way. That's how it got up there. Sorry, parking garage. My Americanisms are creeping in. Parking garage, as I would say. The whole thing is Beast just sits in the back of the Cadillac and sort of pontificates about Von Doom radiation and time travel, and just really tires everybody out. While Moon Knight finds some. It turns out the Secret Empire are down here, and they're in the process of trying to reactivate not the Secret Empire, the what are they called? The Shadow Council, Brubaker's villains. For the Secret Avengers. They're here, and they are trying to reactivate the Von Doom time platform, which it turns out is the whole size of the city, and is going to rise up through. You know, it's the Von Doom. The platform method is like you stand on a flat platform, and the time platform rises up over you, and you disappear as it rises over you. Well, this is going to rise up and teleport the entire city above it, which is what city was it?
It's under Cincinnati, isn't it? Yeah.
It's gonna teleport Cincinnati somewhere in space and time. They can just drop it on top of another city as an act of massive terrorism, and then
be like a bomb or something. Yeah.
Well, just like a city falling on a city.
That'll ruin your morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, it would happen to Cincinnati too, wouldn't it?
Who would care?
I'm just saying.
It's altogether kind of set up like a video game, to be honest. Like, they drive to one place, and then they get attacked by the guys, and then they have to they have to fight some people, and then they find the one target, and they have to take out, and they have to blow it up, and then they have to race away from the explosion, and then they have to...
Yeah, but Moon Knight is a badass in this fight sequence.
Yeah, he just lands on the
face. With his grappling hook or something?
Grapple, right, just smashes the thing in. You know, this is it. Moon Knight is a very capable character. He's just a little bit crazy. You know, he drops out of the air and just lands on the hood of the Jeep that they're driving. Whammo! Yeah. Caves it in. Let's see what else happens. Well, you know, it's very, very straightforward. I've just described the whole thing. A lot of it is in the comedy of the thing, you know. Like when the Black Widow pauses to swear in Russian when a tank abruptly rolls around a corner, you know. And they need something to blow the pylon up with, and hey, they're driving an atomic bomb, basically.
Yeah.
So Beast can rewire the car. I'm surprised he didn't offer to rewire the polarity of the neutron flow, and use it to blow up the thing. But it will kill everybody within the shielded underground city. So he has to. They then have to do the timed race sequence back up to the surface, where the counterweight powered, not mechanically powered lift will take them back to the surface. Like they're escaping in a helicopter after he's done so. Moon Knight gets shot through the leg, and you know, Moon Knight, and he's like, "Oh, relax. I'm far too borderline psychotic to feel pain. I might pass out." I'm sorry. I said you were insane. I still might pass out.
Oh God. I loved this book. This was so good.
It's got a terribly abrupt ending though, where Beast, wants to know. You know, he's genuinely reflecting on what he's done. Is how many people did I just kill? Because he's just set off an atomic bomb, basically. And Cap turns around and says to him, "How many people did you just save? Do the math. It'll help you sleep." And it doesn't. You know, it feels like maybe there's another page, or another 2 pages, just where the Beast, because the Beast's going to reply to that. You know, there's going to
Well,
be
no, I
more...
felt like it works the way it ends because this is like it's like a breakneck. It's like you said, it's like a video game. It just goes boom, 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 and then it's over. You know.
Right.
Yeah,
And
they laid a little
feels
heavily on that. It would have slightly perhaps hampered what was going on in the comic previously.
because I feel like Secret Avengers under Warren Ellis is more like okay, they go. I mean, but just like the tagline, run the mission, don't get seen, save the world. Whatever else doesn't matter. So we don't
Yeah.
get the story about how it affects Beast. All it matters is they ran the mission, don't get seen, and they saved the world.
Yeah.
I think
Worry
that's
about
why.
the other
yeah.
stuff later.
Right.
And
Yeah.
dude, the cover for the next issue looks awesome.
Is that from Maximum Overdrive?
I don't know, but
Very good. Every issue is going to be drawn by a different artist as well, so we'll get that. That'll be fun. I'm just flipping back through this to find
I like
some
the
more.
lettering on this. That's like, I rarely praise lettering, but this is really cool.
and Warren Ellis is not staying. You said he's only doing a couple issues.
Doing 6 issues, so we'll be here for a little while. Yeah, we'll see what
Can he
happens with
stay?
the.
I want him to stay.
Like this story, like this is even staying. I mean, come on. You're on 3 writers by now. I mean, how long is Secret Avengers really
It's
going
a
to be
book
around?
that has evidently struggled to find its place properly, but each new writer that comes on has been an improvement as far as I've been concerned, and I would say that this one is the most fun and entertaining. It borders on the ridiculous. That the one that almost turns the thing into a joke. I mean, it doesn't literally, but the one that makes light and embraces the brightly colored, weirdo, fantastical nature of the stories you can tell with superheroes is the one that works the best and is the best issue of the one that's supposed to be the Black Ops super secret team. I think it's perhaps evidence of the fact that idea just hasn't worked very well for the Avengers. You know, you can sell it with X-Force over on the X-Men and Wolverine and X-23 going around killing people and everything, you know. But then the X-Men already operate outside the law, you know. And Cyclops, as the leader of basically an entire race, needs to not be seen doing things. But the Avengers are... It's a different kettle of fish, and the concept just doesn't really seem to have worked very well. Spencer did a good job enough, but his stories weren't secret stories. They weren't, you know, they were in the sense that now that I think back on it, each of Spencer's 3 Fear Itself tie-in issues were about an untold story of sorts. You had the Beast's friend who brought Abraham Lincoln, Stone Robot, Nazi Puncher to
That
life.
was awesome.
I was awesome. But, you know, nobody could ever learn about that. Nobody could ever learn about his friend. And then the one I didn't talk about it, we learned there was a story about Valkyrie's history, you know, an untold, just like something that isn't publicly known. And then there was the last one was about the Black Widow visiting the newspaper, or the story about Bucky, and it was like a look inside the mentality of superheroes dealing with death and the way that their universe operates around it. Like, untold stories that aren't normally known, or that the people who shared them normally keep to themselves. So it was, it was Secret Avengers in a very different way than what Brubaker was shooting for and kind of failing to accomplish, where Ellis has actually, really for the first time then, succeeded in accomplishing the mission statement of this series, and done it in a fun way as well. It's like, this is really a case of having your cake and eating it, and it's delicious, delicious cake. So go and eat, go and eat some. Yeah, Secret Avengers.
Nice.
So good.
Awesome. Well, kids, it's time for the 2-part ending. As we talk about Flashpoint, the end of, and then we'll go into Justice League. So, I'll just go through Flashpoint. That's fine.
You do that.
So,
Nothing gets resolved.
Since I didn't pick it up.
yeah. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Last time the world was going to hell in a handbasket, and Thawne had just shown up.
That's
So-
really good, right?
Professors.
So at the beginning of this issue, we've got Professor Zoom and the world going to hell.
Yep.
That's basically it. So we get what we've been waiting for, which is the banter back and forth between Flash and Reverse Flash, where Flash is trying to find out, what did you do? How did you screw up the world? And Zoom's like, guess what, buddy? It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Yep. And you're like, no. No. So of course Thawne realizes, he's like, oh, you're forgetting. Well, let me realign your molecules, and it's gonna hurt, which is gonna be fun.
Yeah, he says, "Lucky me."
Yeah, lucky me.
Lucky
So he
me.
basically gives him a noogie, and
Electric noogie.
he basically gives him a Speed Force noogie, and reminds him of what happens. Now, here's where I got confused for a minute in chronology and had to figure out. Basically, this whole thing that Barry has done is something that happened at the beginning of Flashpoint that we didn't see. Am I right
it was
in that?
somewhere between the end of Road to Flashpoint, because you remember Road to Flashpoint ended with him visiting his mom's grave,
Yeah.
which is what we
Yes.
see here, and then Flashpoint. Well, Flashpoint began with him waking up at his desk. So
Right. Yeah. So somewhere in there, and basically what we figure out is that Barry has been distraught over the death of his mother, especially finding out that it was Professor Zoom that had killed his mother in the past, and that there had been a time when she was alive or whatever. So at some point in his broken state, he decided to try to use the cosmic treadmill to go back in time and change it back to where his mother had lived. And that is what screwed everything up.
it is the most. I can dig the idea that it was Barry's fault. It's a nice twist. I kind of get with that, although it does render Thawne's presence kind of, Thawne does nothing. The fact that it seemed to be building to a big throwdown between them. Turns out the real throwdown happened somewhere else at a different point in time. And then, what's this line he says here? You were like a bullet through a windshield. You shattered history. The lives of the people closest to you were put on a broken path. I like the idea. You know what? That's something that works much better in metaphor. The idea of the bullet punching through the windscreen and it just cracking in all these different directions. But, we have gone through 4 issues assuming that Thawne changed time very precisely to alter the histories of all these characters and that there was maybe going to be some big revolution tying it all together. And it turns out that no, nothing of the sort. Flash just sort of put a kink in time that caused things to happen differently just because.
Yeah, and it's like, not only has that, not really been the way... I mean, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense with that, because this is something that, for one thing, it flies in the face of the pre-existing, Time Masters chronology. This is the shit that they do.
That.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why Rip Hunter exists, is to make sure that shit like this doesn't happen. So it doesn't even make sense that Rip wouldn't have been aware that this was happening, and that it would have happened outside of, their element of control.
How does it work with Rip? I mean, if Barry changed something and maybe Rip didn't exist, would that...
No,
or is he outside of normal time? Is that how it works?
He exists outside of normal time in that sense, and he has monitoring going on at Vanishing Point.
Especially since Booster wasn't affected by all of this,
right? And
so that means Rip would have come out of it normally.
Correct. And
more to the point, even beyond all of this trying to figure out with Rip, it just disagrees with the mechanics that Johns himself established in Booster Gold, which said you can't change time.
Right. Exactly. You can't change time like this.
I mean, to be honest, I hadn't really thought about it when Thawne kept talking about how he changed time, because he did it a lot, and it never actually occurred to me that was just in defiance of what Johns had said, but it really jumped out at me here because it's such a massive casual thing.
Well, because and maybe what Thawne is saying here is that, again, he changed time like an amateur. What the changes Thawne has made to time have been small massages of time that didn't change the overall outcome of the timeline.
Yeah, but again, that was the point, was that nothing ever happened, nothing ever worked.
When he changed something, he would change it to make sure that it didn't affect him, so that he didn't exist.
He was able
to change things that would make him happier.
Change time in subtle ways.
He never got the outcome he wanted anyway.
Right.
It was always the point of that one shot, that great one shot issue about his story. Even though all the changes he made, he was never able to make it change the way he wanted it to.
Yeah, exactly. And so
anyway,
But
dwelling on this.
we digress. But the point here is that it seems out of place. I mean, it seems like it just doesn't fit with the other pre-existing parts of the world. Like, it just
It
doesn't...
also is really weird because remember the Renegades from the future about how they came back and they're gonna get Flash because he murdered somebody and then they gave him the talk and said the problem with you is you've got the power to go back in time but you never change anything. And didn't he say something like there's a reason why I don't do that or something? Didn't he basically make the heroic speech or something? I can't remember.
Well,
exactly how it
I
went.
mean, they talked about how Barry
An actual
knows
Flash
these things
comic.
before, but it's just that's why this is to be the surprise that it is. I don't know what this comment about a life of gnawing emptiness is. I don't know if that's Thawne just throwing out some hyperbole, but it's like, really, just because it was his mum's birthday for the first time in 30 years that you finally decided to go back in time. I guess it's the first time she had a birthday since that he found out that Thawne was responsible for it. But
yeah, that's
I find it
the
hard
kicker.
I just find it hard to believe that the straight and true Barry Allen, boring Barry, would ever do this.
Yeah, it just doesn't... It seems
It tries
so
to sell
out
it
of
as
character.
concept.
Yeah.
And well, we'll get to it when we get to the end, but there's a way that it could have been sold a little more believably, but it ties into the overarching thing of Flashpoint, which we'll get to when we get to the end.
So anyway, there's a little bit of bantering back and forth and fighting, explosion things go on. And, Thomas comes up and is trying to tell Flash, he's like, all right, you did this, you can fix it, we just need to get Thawne out of the way, and then, Thawne then beats the crap out of Thomas.
Yeah.
And, again, there's this exchange, this is where the real fight between them as far as he yells at him about altering the time stream, and but basically what Thawne is saying here is that now he can kill Barry because I guess they're saying that some of this happened maybe during that time when Thawne was at Vanishing Point.
Well, I think it's just pretty irrelevant. Thawne spent a lot of his time running through time anyway, so
yeah,
he was running through the time stream when Barry made his change. So time changed around him and made him a man out of time, which means that he can now do what he's always wanted to do and kill Barry because he's apart from history. So killing Barry won't affect his own future anymore.
right.
Yeah, he doesn't have to have Barry, become the Flash so he can keep his powers. He can just kill him.
Right. And so he tells him he can kill him now, he can kill him in his mother's womb, he could, kill him whenever he wants to, and he's standing over him, ha 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 ha. Schloop.
Yeah.
Shrink.
What's that? Something poking out of my chest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
no.
is there a sword in my chest? Yeah, and we forget that Thomas is not the kindly Batman that his son would be.
He's a bad-ass bastard.
Yeah.
I want this Batman.
Yeah,
I want this Batman.
Yeah,
Like,
I would be happy with this Batman.
Yeah, doctor's advice. When you're in the middle of a war, don't stand still. Awesome. So he kills
That
Professor
is
Zoom.
some awesome advice, man. That is
Yeah.
awesome advice.
But in the meantime, so Thawne is now dead, which seems very anticlimactic, but whatever.
And Barry's like, you killed him. He's got this huge shock on his
Yeah,
face.
like, oh my god. Oh my gee.
I did that one time.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the club.
Yeah, really. I did
I
it
look
first.
so shocked.
In the meantime, everything's going to hell. More fighting. And the Resistance shows up with Grifter.
It's Grifter! Grifter here, the
Grifter!
comic you want Grifter!
He's getting a
right there.
comic!
Grifter!
Grifter's
He's
gonna
got
be
a
in a
whole
comic.
page to himself, guys! It's
Oh,
Grifter!
man.
You like Grifter! We
And-
swear
Remember-
Grifter is important!
And the
Remember,
Resistance.
Kimberly created Grifter, so Grifter's important. Look!
Grifter
Look
just
at Grifter!
Grifter just drifts onto the page, and then he's. Oh, sorry, that
Griff.
isn't. No. Transformers reference? No, sorry. Okay. Anyway,
Uh,
he's cool because we said he's cool. Yeah. So
It's
more
all
people.
people-
the
JJ.
Gilderbray cricket.
Let's see. Enchantress is lighting people up.
But, this is the thing, like, you know what, you can just sit here and describe this, but you know what it's like, Enchantress throws some magic around, whoopity-doo, Superman arrives and lands on her, blowing her to magic.
lands on her. She explodes.
Yeah. She just explodes. There's an arm there, some hair. maybe an eyeball.
Hat.
Yeah.
And then Aquaman is like, right, fuck this shit, and triggers off a series of bombs that are, according to who does the little reading? Oh yeah, Cyborg just does a little floaty hologram screen says,
Yeah.
oh, these bombs will crack the planet in half. Boom, 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 boom. Batman gives Barry a note to give to Bruce when the time reacts, and then Barry outruns the explosion. And while there are still several pages left to the issue, that is it for the world of Flashpoint.
Gone.
Why,
Vanished.
in the name of fuck, were there 16 tie-ins every month? And no, not a single story, not a single character, not a single scenario from any of those things has been resolved.
No.
The world is
Nothing
forgotten in a
being
large
carried over.
blue explosion.
There's like none of those characters are being carried over either. I mean, like if one of those characters was coming, it would make sense. But
Well, some of those characters were like de-mothballed, and now they're going to be in, but not in this format. I mean, not these versions of those characters. Correct. So Barry.
I mean,
yeah.
Really.
And of
I
course,
mean,
you know, Thomas died.
like-
we need to mention that, right? Thomas
Yeah,
died.
Thomas died.
The
Died.
No,
explosion.
not Thomas. I like him.
But
Yeah, we didn't get the ending where he runs with Barry and then he
Oh.
comes back into this universe.
yeah, that would have been awesome.
That's- And then he's part of Batman Inc.
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh, I so like
So-
Thomas. Oh, man.
So Barry thinks about his mom. Goes to see his mom.
Yeah,
Aw.
outrun time and space.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's
Teleport.
running. He's running away from the explosion, and he's thinking about her. So of course it draws him to her. That's
Right.
what happens.
And she basically realizes that, he explains that he wanted to save her, and so he blew up the world.
No, she Aunt May's him, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Just like, no, I have to die so other people
Like,
can live.
no, I must die. Yeah, exactly.
So Barry fights himself on the treadmill.
Yeah, chases himself back in time, stops himself from making the alteration, so
Right.
kaboom.
Then we have this 2 pages that is going to be talked about forever, probably.
Oh, Lordy. Yes, here it is.
Oh, my God. So Barry is talking with something. Do you know who this
Yeah.
is? Or is it...
No, this is a mystery.
This is a mystery
There
entity.
is some
She
kind of
she
hooded
shows up
woman.
again though.
Mm,
She's gonna show up a lot actually.
yeah,
probably.
we'll get to her in a minute.
So,
Yeah.
so Barry's talking about trying to put the time stream back together, but there's 3 timelines.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Wildstorm, Vertigo, and DC.
Right. Wildstorm, Vertigo, and DC. And she said the history of heroes was shattered into 3. And now they need to be brought back into 1, because that way we have a unified product line that we can sell to the to the buying community. And that
I
makes
love that
It is-
Grifter is in the front of the Wildstorm universe again. God damn it,
Shit. Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, the fucking grifter.
Grifter, yeah, Grifter.
yeah. The
Get
lone
over it, guys.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Grifter's on the Justice League. You want to call some bets here?
oh man. So,
The truly interesting thing is that this double page spread implies that there is actually a greater story behind this idea.
yeah.
This is not just happening to happen. She is saying the timeline was splintered to weaken your world for their impending arrival.
Mm.
Something is coming. And she has used this, whoever she is, this mystery woman. People are speculating it might be Kismet, who is like the DC Universe's equivalent of Eternity in the Marvel Universe, like the universe personified. To unify the timelines to stand against whatever this is that is coming. Now, I've heard some rumblings that Stormwatch might be the book to watch for the first hints about what this is. I don't know if that's true or not.
Stormwatch starring Martian Manhunter,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's
Yep.
weird.
yeah, it is.
Wow.
And then,
So-
you know, what's really funny is that you could totally have just glued those pages together and turned it, and it would be carrying on fine.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
So, yeah. Who was that? What was that? What did she say? And Barry wakes up again, just like he did.
These last couple of pages are good.
This is good
Oh, yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
This is good
Yeah,
at the end
the
of it.
last
So-
bunch of pages really good.
Yeah. So Barry wakes up and he runs out and he runs to the Batcave. And he asks if it's Bruce, and he's like, well, yeah.
Who else is it gonna be?
Who else would
What's
it be?
wrong, Barry? What happened?
Can't you tell by all the little extra lines I have on my costume?
Right. So we are now in the world of the New 52 because you can
But there,
tell by
you
the
could
costume.
not tell from reading it. You know, Batman
No.
and Flash have a couple of extra little lines on their costumes, and that's it. You know, this is carrying on as normal, which is a good, strong indicator of how the universe is going to be, really. You know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's gonna. I mean, yeah. There's
Yeah,
no
I
indication.
don't see no bat hound in the background of the bat cave.
I mean,
yet.
yeah, it's not that the cover claim that it all changes here is a lie or anything, because it does.
Yeah,
But
things change.
yeah, it sure does. But nobody talks about it.
Hmm. Yeah, they don't talk about it here. And there's a
Well,
controversial. So
I mean, to Batman, nothing's probably changed, right? I mean, why
Yeah, well,
would
that's
Yeah.
the point, because history's been altered and everything is as it always
yeah.
was to him.
No, and the interesting thing here though is that Barry basically has like two sets of memories. Like his mother did die and everything, but he can also remember having spent time with her as well. Like he has memories of her being alive and being dead. So it's sort of like he's a Schrodinger's cat version of like reality or
Can you
something. where it's
imagine?
like-
Can you imagine trying to be his therapist?
yeah, really.
Well, there's no therapy. It's not it's not presented as a bad thing here. You know,
Hmm.
you know, he's lost his mother again, but he's gained the gift of
knowing her.
a lifetime of
Grow up with.
memories
Yeah.
for her. You know,
And
He's
even-
come out of
And Bruce
That's
even
the
says
stuff.
that. Yeah.
Barry's the one that tries to go, oh, chronology, temporal radiation, something. And Batman goes, or it could be a gift. And then there's this silence when it's like, yeah, both our parents are dead, but I get to remember mine. I get the memories of a lifetime with one.
Yeah, he got to grow up with his mom, and Batman didn't.
Yeah.
So that's sad.
But
Yeah.
remember
What?
that Thomas gave Barry a letter.
Mm.
So Bruce reads the letter. A little bit of controversy. I don't know. Is this controversial? Batman cries.
Is it?
Why would it be?
Nothing goes
I don't know.
by that to me
It
at
makes
all. I think
sense.
that's a
I don't know.
perfectly
I heard
If
some.
he,
I
if he
heard.
did- honestly, if he didn't cry, it
Yeah.
would be controversial.
I don't know. There were some there
I
were a
would
few
say if
people
there
that
was
were
one
like,
I almost
would
cried. Come on.
I know. I
There was
agree. I
one
think.
thing that would ever make Batman cry, it would be this. You know,
Yes.
love always your father, Thomas.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
because
some of the note too, it says like there's only one thing that I know about life. I know some things happen by chance, and that's all we really get out of it.
yeah, we don't get to see what
We
the
get
rest of the
to see
letter.
it. Yeah, we don't need to see the full letter. That's
No.
not, better off not seeing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the
That's
ending
it.
bit. You know,
Yeah. But we
Bruce thanked Barry for bringing the message, and
But we
you're
see
welcome.
a nice, full, complete Batcave. I mean, this doesn't seem like it's some
Still
sort
got a
of.
dinosaur in it.
It's got a dinosaur and a Joker card. I mean, what
I
else
don't
do you
see no
need?
giant penny. I mean, obviously
Oh, it's in there.
civilization is
Yeah.
ruined.
You know it's in there somewhere.
So,
Yeah.
so there you go.
So,
There's your first.
I mean, this really highlights then for me at this very end, which is something I just really hadn't picked up on before, is that the central theme of Flashpoint is parents and children.
yeah, it really. Yeah.
I had not really detected that in the reading of it before, but that's because for the previous 4 issues have been fighting to showcase all these dumb little crossovers which
Right.
mean nothing. I mean, 16 miniseries, nearly every one of them, most of them, not everyone, but nearly everyone ended saying, concluded in the pages of Flashpoint number 5. Well, not a single solitary one of them gets any kind of satisfying conclusion. Even what was presented as the central story of this world, the war between Aquaman and Wonder Woman, is not resolved.
Right.
It is simply
Okay.
there is
okay,
a
that's-
big explosion, and Barry runs it, and it turns back into Barry's story suddenly at the end. I mean, there's a story in here, but if you could just, for all the things I said about, point me in the direction where I could read more about Captain Thunder and everything, I would have rather read a miniseries or a one-shot about it instead of basically dedicating all of the 4th issue to the characters, only to have them mean nothing and do nothing and have no purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to what we were afraid of, which was coming out, which was that all of this ultimately doesn't matter. Nothing,
Yeah.
All of those tie-ins, everything that happened in Flashpoint ultimately
Really?
does not
I mean,
matter.
this is not even House of M levels of does not matter, you know?
Right.
The alternate universe of House of M was well developed and, you know, has been revisited at times.
And some of the stuff, some of the characters carried over from House of M also, didn't they? I mean,
yeah, and like,
in
important
some way.
changes and were made to things in. I mean, Hawkeye came back to life because of House of M, you know. But
Yeah.
House of M returned things to normal with a plot shift. This is just well, here's the table flipped over at the end.
Yeah.
It's like
I will forever see those smiley faces throwing tables over when I hear them say.
yeah, it's like it doesn't. You know, that is the worst thing, you know, because whatever level of criticism you could level at any of the last batch of big summer crossovers, as terrible as some of them were, they at least mattered.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a really popular grumpy nerd thing to talk about how they don't matter, but you know what? They actually fucking do.
Yeah,
Because they set the stage for at least a whole following year of I'm speaking about Marvel specifically at this point, a whole following year of storylines and an overarching status quo for the universe, which in turn feeds into the next crossover and so on and so forth. You say Civil War didn't matter. We had an initiative for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, well, no, that can't be right.
No.
3 years. 3 years. Something like that.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we had it for a long time. You know, this doesn't matter. Barry has changed time, yes, but the actual events of the story do not matter. Nothing, you know, it's like I could understand this. This could be deemed to matter if anything that actually happened in the story caused the change to happen. You know, Crisis on Infinite Earths was entirely dedicated to multiverses and universes being destroyed and revealing how the history of the universe had been changed irrevocably and what have you. This is just, I mean, I'm not even joking. Like, if you were to glue that double-page spread together, it would actually flow better, because then it would go from him going no, and then the lightning sound effect to him waking up.
Yeah.
It would work better. It would actually work better. A Flashpoint, for, you know, apart from this last bit, like, it didn't matter, and that is its ultimate crime.
Yeah, I think, I mean, really just, I mean, for all the books, all the tie-ins, 5 issues of Flashpoint itself, which could have been done in 3 issues.
Yeah.
It had a good first issue.
Yeah.
Its second issue, because the Thomas Wayne thing was, its second issue was good because more Thomas Wayne, and we got that audacious ending. The third issue was where it started to come apart because still nothing had happened. Barry got his fires back because they did it.
He fried
then the
himself
fourth
again. That was entertaining.
Yeah.
Come on.
Was. And then the fourth issue was sitting. The fourth issue was sitting in the Shazam kid's kitchen.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
yeah, and the fifth, and then all the build-up, all of the World Destroyer, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, none of it mattered. I mean, the fact that the central conflict of this universe, the Wonder Woman and Aquaman war, the thing that everything in story has revolved around trying to stop from happening, is not resolved. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it was basically it was like a card trick. It was like look over here, and this thing changed, and hey, it's a new world.
But you talk about you're really like angry about this because you are surprised that this wasn't going to happen. This was going to happen. I mean, we knew this. We knew that basically there was going to be a fight, a bunch of people were going to die or something, and then all that wasn't going to matter because Barry's going to fix it. I mean, that was the only thing that could happen. If Barry didn't fix it and then it just ended and we didn't get the new DC universe, that would have been the surprise. That would have been.
It doesn't seem. I guess maybe more to the point though. It doesn't seem like this event leads into this new 52, and maybe that's more of the crime.
No, it just doesn't.
You know, it's like it could have been anything. I don't feel like what happened in Flashpoint led me to what happened in the... I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like, DC in the 80s said, holy crap, we've got all this multiverse stuff. All of our readers are confused. Let's consolidate our brand line, bring all those universes together. It's essentially what they're doing. I mean, really, this is the same kind of deal. They had three different brands. They wanted to
They
tie
really should have
everything
called it
under
Crisis Point.
Well, but that's the whole thing is like
But yeah,
when they
said,
did
the story should have been about the characters of the individual timelines coming together to deal with some kind of threat against them. Not some casual alternate universe story that changes things for no reason. Barry changes time originally, and everything else changes for no particular reason.
Yeah.
Time gets put back together, and things are different now for no.
But you know what the story is really about? It's really about Jeff Johns showing us why Barry Allen's so important, because everybody keeps bitching about why he brought Barry Allen back. See, if Barry Allen didn't do what he was supposed to do, everybody was going to be a jerk and an asshole, and they were going to fight until they killed each other. See, Barry Allen's what keeps the Justice League as good guys.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like this could have worked with the same players, and even have Thawne, and just I don't know. It's like I need bad guys to be bad guys. It doesn't. It's not
I
that.
I don't mind the twist that Barry was responsible for it. You know, but
Other than
Thawne is very dispatched very unceremoniously after 4 issues of build up, and I really like the stuff. I really like the ending. I'm not joking. I really like when I clocked onto the fact the parents and children theme that there was there. I really dug that, and I was like, well, why the hell wasn't that what it was about?
Yeah, that would have made.
You know,
sense.
I mean, that's just what I'm looking at. I'm like, wow, you know, there was some real ground to explore there. You know, I mean, I don't really think that there's at any point in time do Barry and Thomas sit down and say, you know, thy world's given me back my mother, you know, this world's taken away your son. You know, there's no exploration of any of the themes that raises.
Yeah.
It never even occurred to me.
You get a little bit of that in the Batman Flashpoint title. You get a little bit of that.
Well, yeah, but that's the last 2 pages. Whenever suddenly it turns out that miniseries is happening somewhere during Flashpoint, whereas like 2 3/4 issues of that miniseries could have been you assumed was probably happening some point in the past, and then it's like at the end of it, he's like, yeah, by the way, I can change time. What do you say to that? Go on then. That was a really good miniseries, notwithstanding I liked it. Night of Vengeance was legitimately good. It was very good.
It was probably the best one.
Oh yeah, it was the best tie-in, absolutely. But yeah, I know you look back on it, it's like, what the hell was the point of so many of these? Like with I know Aquaman, I know Wonder Woman, I know The Outsider, I have Superman. Just to rattle a couple off the top of my head that I know, like they were like, these events continued in, and I was like, no, they weren't.
Nope.
It's just about making some money. That's all it was about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to hold it against them or anything, but there's a really bitter taste left.
It just seems like from a writing editorial standpoint, this could have been creatively better, in the sense that it could have been done in a more interesting and creative and epic way, which is what DC is. And they kind of went a weird, you know.
So do we want to take bets as whether or not the last issue of Fear Itself will be as bad or as worse as Flashpoint?
It can't be. I mean,
I would say that it'll probably be a pretty damp squib, but it will
it will matter. It will matter.
It will matter, and well, to be honest, with Fear Itself,
do you think it will?
Sure.
I don't know. Fear Itself will matter. Actually,
I don't know if Fear Itself will matter that much. Fear Itself is.
It'll matter in the fact that Steve Rogers is Captain America again. But other than that, I think the Serpent and all that stuff, it will disappear. It will.
I think this is the first Marvel crossover in a while that will probably really not have any major repercussions, save killing Bucky and putting Cap back in the costume. But I still think the last ending will probably be a rather action-packed damp squib, which will at least make sense thematically with everything else the comic has been doing, but you know, just fail to impress on the same general sort of level of meh that Fear Itself has been. You know, Fear Itself's been on a sort of steady plateau of meh. Flashpoint started out pretty good and just really devolved into something weird by the end. Just really, really unsatisfying after a strong start.
Yep.
Well,
but hey, so there we are.
That's Flashpoint. Yeah.
So that's Flashpoint. That's over. Here we are. New 52.
All right, I got to pull up my digital download here.
All right. Who wants to go through this? Do you want this, McFeely?
We're in a new universe now, and I probably don't wear glasses in this new universe.
Yeah, that's about the height of some of the changes.
Yeah.
I've got some lines in my shirt.
I relinquish this review. Who wants to do this review? Anybody? Any takers?
I'll take it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Okay. I'm sorry. It was the second panel on the first page.
See, that's why I said it's the second panel. That's...
5
So they
years.
should have done it with the first panel. I mean, I was
know,
confused.
obviously, it's so totally would have messed it.
And it should have been like across the panel in giant font 5 years ago.
One whole panel.
Years ago, one panel each word.
So there you go.
I wonder,
they
if
didn't-
anybody, I wonder if anybody that got the comic read it and said 5 years ago. So does this take place before Flashpoint?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, well, it starts 5 years ago with a pompous narration that tells us there was a time when the world didn't call them its greatest superheroes. There was a time when the world didn't know what a superhero was.
Is Rorschach in this?
Yeah, I know. I was like,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a bit Rorschach-y, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very Rorschach-y.
Well, Batman is being pursued by the GCPD across rooftops as he chases down some kind of covered creature. I wasn't sure what this was as I was watching it, but yeah.
I was thinking of those aliens from Wildcats. Because I guess because Jim drawn. You know what I'm talking about? Because the Wildcats are all aliens that are like inhabiting human bodies or something stupid.
I don't remember what they were called, but yeah, I thought it was Killer Croc at first, to be honest.
Yeah, I did too.
Alien teeth. But so the police open fire on both of them. Batman blinds them with some smoke grenades and continues pursuing the creature. When it erupts in flame to repel him, and then Green Lantern arrives on the scene and hits the alien with a fire truck, which I have to admit,
Beautiful fire truck.
fire truck. I really, really like the way the constructs have been rendered here, where you can actually see the pieces of the truck forming and coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And it knocks it off a building. It just slams it. So it's the story of how Green Lantern and Batman meet for the first time.
I love how he just says, "You're real, Batman. You're real." He's
real.
sort of shocked. I thought you were just an urban legend. I thought like a man-bat thing wasn't real. You know?
Green Lantern holds off the pursuing police with his ring, and then the monster gets back up, starts attacking them some more, shoots down the police with its fiery breath, and turns into some kind of big spider thing, spider monster, and they chase it across the city, follow it down into the sewers.
Hal says
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
what we-
transformer.
Yeah.
Transform?
He
Take
just
your
changed into some kind of dog.
Then they, I'm going through this awfully quickly. I should pause here and talk about the interactions. That Batman is Batman is Batman is Batman. It's Batman.
Yeah.
You know exactly what to expect. Now, I don't want to alarm any listeners who may not have read this issue, right? But
Well,
Hal Jordan,
spoilers. If you haven't read it, don't listen.
spoilers. But even if you aren't going to read it, I don't want to alarm you in this telling of events. But Hal Jordan has got a personality in
I
this.
know.
Wait, okay, let me just ask you this. Now, it's been a while since I've read any Green Lantern besides Brightest Day and all that. In this comic book, it kind of threw me off because he always talks about himself in the third person a lot. Well,
That's
Green
new.
Lantern will do that. Green Lantern will do this. I'm like, just say, it kind of threw me off for a second. Like, I don't remember him doing this. But he talks about himself in the third person.
I don't think we have to worry about this impacting too much on Hal's portrayal in the main Green Lantern book, because the whole idea that's being put across here is this is 5 years ago, start of his career. He's very cocky. He hasn't dealt with any other superheroes. He hasn't faced any force that can counter his ring. He's really, cock out. I am the king.
Yeah, he's really green at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we mention?
I got that one. You got to give me that.
Yeah.
Now,
Nicole was
did
right there
mention
with
that,
it.
That basically the heroes aren't popular, right? That, I mean,
Yeah.
Batman even says, they don't like us, and Batman says it's because they're afraid of us.
So basically, the New 52 is the Marvel Universe. The major thing that has long distinguished DC from the Marvel Universe in its treatment of superheroes has now been obliterated. Whether or not this will hold true in the modern day of the universe going forward, of course, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah,
All they got to do is just fight a giant starfish, and they'll be accepted.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's all
man.
it takes. Or a little
but,
wormy
they
guy.
descend into the sewers after the creature, and I like this. Green Lantern says, "What are your powers anyway? You can't fly." No. Super strength? No. Hold on a second. You're not just some guy in a bat costume, are you? You freaking kidding me? But there's that great moment of comedy, and then Batman goes, "So what's this do?" And he's pulled Hal's ring off.
Yeah, he just
without
like
him even
totally.
noticing. Like that was great. I love
Yeah,
That was
just ripped it off.
How the hell did you get it off? I don't see any buttons, so I'm guessing it works off of concentrating. I guess it worked off of concentration. You weren't concentrating. Bitch!
Yeah.
He says, "You won't do that again," and Batman says, "Not unless I want to." No, the
really wanna
universe
pick a fight
man
with
is
someone-
already a badass.
I do. You really want to pick a fight with someone who can create anything he can think of? I'd be worried if I thought you could think.
The banter is great. I will totally give it that. I mean,
Batman grabs a hold of him to silence him. Hal thinks he's going in for a fight, but no, in fact, Batman's silencing him because he's spotted the creature at a nearby wall. He's planting a box of some kind on a wall, and it goes ping, and I go, oh shit, is that what I think it is?
And I bet it was what you thought it was.
Yes, well, I thought, is that a mother box? And then, the parademon, it's a parademon. It turns around and it goes, for Darkseid! And explodes. So, you could color me interested.
mm-hmm.
Dark Side. What is that, a band?
Band. Yeah, so that's... Well, they get the box. They get the ring can't identify the mother box. Presumably, it's a mother box. It went ping, and it's from Apocalypse. So the pair of them conclude that since it's alien, they should go and talk to the only alien that they're aware of on Earth, which is to say that guy in Metropolis.
Yeah. Superman.
Yeah. So off
They say
go.
he's an alien. He is, and he's dangerous. You've met him? But no, but I've researched him. His power levels. I think it's
A problem for me.
I love that smirk on his face right there.
I know. It's like, what the hell? Hal Jordan's kind of fun to read about. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, he hasn't been like
I
burnt
could
and jaded.
I could conceivably see this Hal Jordan starring in a character-driven story instead of
Hey.
a story that wasn't, the cosmology of Green Lantern. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
So off they head, and then we get a strange. We don't think it's strange, but we would think it was. Anyway, 4-page interlude to Metropolis, where Vic Stone is owning at college football. Oh, but his dad was too busy researching superheroes or something.
Now,
yeah.
Aw.
Did you see the woman, Chris?
Yes, this is the
Yes.
thing. I didn't when I saw it. I had to read about it later.
Yeah, I
But
read it
in the-
online. I didn't catch it originally, but I read it online.
Which woman?
The first Vic's first page here. See when you
Okay.
should the picture close up of the crowd, the guy with the mustache there, and the tablet, the guy
Uh-huh.
screaming into his phone. Bottom right of the panel, behind the guy slapping his forehead,
Oh,
is a
okay.
hood. That is the woman
It's the
from the
hoodie
double
woman.
page spread in Flashpoint. And now the
Yep.
word is that we'll be able to spot her in the first issue of all the New 52.
She'll be like the
Really?
Easter egg in all of the first issues of the
Oh,
of
okay.
two books.
A continuing notion that there is a greater story in work here. So we shall see. We shall see.
So,
That's a good
so-
thing. They're
so
planning
here's the-
ahead.
So here's the
Yeah.
deal, right? All of that crap from Flashpoint, that 1-2-page spread is all that's going to matter.
Yeah.
They could have just released that. Like, here's your
Well, I'm
poster.
glad you guys said something to me. I passed her over. I just
Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
I
It's easy
didn't, I
to
didn't
do.
see it
Yeah.
either. I was reading online and I was like, hey, and I went back and
Huh.
read it. It's like, hey, there she is. You know?
Because particularly, if you don't know, if you're one of these mythical new readers, and you don't know Vic Stone is Cyborg, certainly these 4 pages seem rather odd and out of context in the rest of the comic.
And I just noticed the mascot for that team as well.
No?
The mascot for the Fords. Their mascot is the Titans.
I don't. Where
is it?
It's on that same page as the woman. If you look on the page, if you look
he's going in for a touchdown.
Yeah, Ford. Yeah, okay, I see it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah.
There you go. Hurrah.
Maybe it's Titanic.
Yeah.
Well, presumably then that this opening story arc will cover the origin of Cyborg as well.
Yeah.
So Batman and Green Lantern arrive in a giant glowing jet and buzz the football field. You know, Batman takes some umbrage. You flew us to Metropolis in a glowing green jet. Well, how you can't? So how else were we going to get here? Talking a deep voice?
That's my favorite line in the whole
It's
comic.
awesome.
I so cracked up when I read that first. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Well, Batman advocates caution in dealing with Superman. The art is not particularly indicative of this, but Batman observes that Superman seems to have very recently been in some kind of fight. The art is not strongly indicative of this, besides the fact that there's a hole in the side of a building. Green Lantern gets...
Lexport building too, isn't it?
Oh, of course it is.
Of course.
Because, nobody else builds anything in Metropolis. So Green Lantern gets a little tired of all this whining on Batman's part, sails him in a green box and walks through the hole in the wall. But before he gets in there, a red and blue blur comes streaking out, clobbers him.
Oh, don't say blur.
It smells like that. What is it? Green Lantern says, I can handle this. And, hey, I don't handle easy. So, what can you do? It's Superman, everybody.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a shocking last page, full splash page revelation that Superman would be in a Justice League comic?
That's so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's been a fairly positive run through we've done of the issue.
Yeah.
I really do like the last look of Superman though. Talking about the last page, I really like it without his red underwear.
Yeah.
I do like that. What can you do? Just like Green Lantern's conversation earlier. I like how it ends. I like that. What can you do?
Yeah, they're all like seeing what each other's power levels are, and yeah.
But I think we've basically hit on all the good things. Now we really have to talk about where this feels.
Everywhere else.
On just about every other level. I'm not being funny.
The fact that, as I was referencing before, 22 pages out of Spider-Man Spider Island.
This is 24 pages long for $4. So that, first of all, it's funny how I'll not really make much of a gripe about paying $4 for 22 pages out of Spider-Man or Secret Avengers as the examples this week. But given DC's big stink about holding the line, for this to actually turn out to not have... Well, to be honest, I suppose, technically it has 4 extra pages because 20 pages is the DC standard length, plus 1, 2, 3, 4 extra pages of sketches in the back. So I guess it's 28 pages of content totally.
Oh, you get those costume drawings and stuff.
Yeah. But so little happened.
Yeah, really, not much happened.
You know why, don't you? It's Jim freaking Lee drawing it. We can't cover it up with word bubbles. It's his art. It has to be shown.
It's splashy panels. I mean, this is very, very much chapter 1 of a 6-issue trade, and that is not right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can pick up the prelude issue of Spider Island, which is the first part intro to a new story, for the same price, for 6 more pages of content, and thrice the actual story content.
Yeah, but there's a difference there. I mean, that's not the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man. That's the first issue of a story, and this is the first issue of Justice League. You have to introduce characters.
Well, okay, but
So
let's go. Brian now
successfully managed to introduce 2 characters out of a book called
Justice League. Yeah.
If this was doing its job, the whole team would have been in this book.
And
I agree
Brian,
with that. Wanting
the
whole team to be in it.
Not that I care what Brian thinks, but Brian and I had this discussion yesterday or day before about this issue, and sort of the thing that we came to is that pacing has really changed in comics in that way, in the terms of, they really think about, and it's really changed from a marketing standpoint. You can see the effect of what trades and things, and I think you're hitting exactly on it, Chris, where the deal is that
the decompressed cinematic approach to telling a story, which was really, really big like 3 years ago. It dominated from 2000. Well, it was really, really introduced with the Ultimate books when Bendis and Miller came in, and this is very Ultimate Spidey number one-y sort of territory.
Yeah.
And it dominated. It grew from that. That was what 2009, 2000. I think it was 2000. 2001? No, I don't know. Anyway, it grew for a couple of years. It got to the mainstream books, and then we started getting the Dan Slotts and the Fred Van Lendes and the Jeff Parkers and the Christos Gages coming back in and working against it again. And it's really fallen out of favor at Marvel of late, where DC DC never embraced it the way Marvel did, and this really feels like a case of them doing so. And it's like, guys, you could not have picked a worse time.
Yeah.
I mean, stripping it away, as a comic, it's a perfectly fine comic.
Yeah, I was very worried.
I was solidly, it's perfectly middle of the road, good bit of quippy dialogue. I laughed a couple of times.
Anybody could pick this up. I think
they could.
Really, I mean, I'm going to have my wife read this, because I really think that she could. I think it's accessible. I think it's,
opinion. I'd be interested in seeing what somebody who doesn't know. I mean, I think this has clearly been written when Jeff Johns sat down to write this X months ago. I think this was clearly written with a view to the rather vain hope that the Green Lantern movie might have been good. That,
successful, interesting.
Successful, good, had interested anybody, so that when you picked up this and you got Batman from the films and Green Lantern from the films and Superman from the films in one comic, that was some
Well, actually, Libby, because I actually know a couple people have never bought a comic book in their life. They actually went and picked this up, and they actually, And so one of my girlfriends, she actually found out a lot more about Green Lantern than she ever knew. She's like, oh, okay, so I get this ring, what this ring could do. I get what Hal Jordan's personality's like. So yeah, this was actually, for a person that's never picked up a comic book, this was a great introduction.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it needed to be twice as long, like you said, to introduce all the Justice League. But
it needed to be less fluff. The length is not the problem, because obviously from Spider Island,
I don't know how much fluff there is in it. It's like Nicole says. We are viewing this as people who know who Batman and Green Lantern are. Yeah. This is a book that has now very deliberately, as we know, been targeted to try and pull in these mythical, phantasmagorical creatures who were seen captured on blurry video footage once called new readers. And so it really goes out of its way to go, here are these characters.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to alter my outlook and my mindset when reading the comic to understand that. So I know it's done. It's done that because of that. But outside of that, as something to make new readers want to stay on with this, I mean, issue 1 of this, I don't think. Excuse me. It should have been a complete story, or a really solid, dense, complete team-building story to set the stage for what comes next. It should not have been part 1 of 6. It should not have been Act 1 of a 3 of a. It's half a comic. It's half a comic.
Well, I guess that maybe that's the other question, is that they want this to be the flagship title, but how do you have this be the flagship title when you don't have the characters that go in it established?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, how do you do
established? What's established? New phantasmical readers will pick up perhaps Detective Comics #1 next week.
Well, but you have to have a reason for that team coming together. There has to be a threat.
That doesn't mean you can't tell it in one issue. I mean,
it doesn't mean you can't. But I like that there's more to come. I kind of like.
So you don't think that Superman would be the threat in this issue?
Well,
I mean,
this is just me, but I would have liked twice the length. Team fighting the villain, whatever it may be, Starro, as the central fixture, and then doing the time-honored tradition of how did I get into this mess, and flashbacks leading in, showing how all the heroes came together to fight whatever this mess is, then probably ending on a successful cliffhanger to set the stage for issue 2. I don't necessarily want everything to begin and end here. It is like, together we will be the Justice League.
Yeah.
Or that. But they really, I think, needed to have the... Oh my god, I'm getting very dry-throated. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean...
if you ask me, I was really worried when I heard Jim Lee was going to be drawing this comic. I was really worried. And my expectations of Justice League were very low. I mean, Jeff Johns is writing it, but Jim Lee's drawing it, and that's half the comic. You know, that's Jeff Johns, Jim Lee. There's art, there's writing. So, you know, it may be, hey, good ideas, like, you know, crazy stuff, but then you may have, like, you know, splash page after splash page after splash page. And it really wasn't like that. I mean, like you said, there's real character. I mean, we're introduced to Batman. Like, we know, okay, Batman's the badass. He's cocky. You know, he's this, you know, I can take this whenever I want from you. You know, Hal Jordan, you know, he's also, you know, this cocky space cop. You know, it works. Maybe we didn't get a full story. Maybe it isn't like a full, you know, together story, but it worked for me, and I liked it, and I was way more impressed with it than I thought I would be.
It worked for me, but I was not as impressed by it as I felt that I needed to be. Yeah. You know, it worked for me. I think it would work for most casual readers of anything. But I think that as a vehicle, as a centerpiece for like the launch of an entire new comics line that has been trumpeted the length and breadth of the country, it needed to be so much more than it actually was. It was grand. It is fine. It needed to blow my tits off. And it did not.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it didn't knock my socks off, but like I said, it was way better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it wasn't just, here's the page.
Well, you went in with some pretty low expectations. You went in with some pretty
like
low
I said,
expectations.
I had some low expectations.
Yeah. See, I didn't really. I had some pretty solid expectations for
when
it.
They said Jim Lee, I'm going to say, Jim Lee, he's not a bad artist. I like his art. It's perfectly fine. I just don't think Jim Lee can tell good stories with his art. I think he does flashy art. Sometimes he can tell good stories, but he's no Pascal Ferry. You know, we were talking earlier today. You know, that art's great, and that art can tell a story. Marcos Martin, yeah. He's not that type of an artist, and that's the thing. He's a flashy artist. He's an artist that gets your attention, but he's not an
bring
artist.
The money.
Yeah,
he brings. Yeah, exactly, and that's fine. And you know, for this book, I was expecting that was what it was going to be, and then I got more than that, and I was kind of happy with it. Maybe it didn't knock my socks off, but like I said, I was happy with what I got.
Well,
and
I can see that.
I want to read issue 2.
Oh, I'm going to read issue 2 as well. I like to see where it goes. You know, I'll read the whole fucking story before I go.
It's totally, like we're talking about, it's totally accessible. I feel like I could give this to, I don't know, my dad, and he could read it, and he would know what's going on, and he would know
you know,
next issue.
Failure of the Green Lantern film notwithstanding, people can still pick this up and goes, "There's Batman from the films, and there's that guy from that film I didn't see."
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So
even that. Yeah.
Level of recognizability in play. I just really think, as you say, you know, as a centerpiece, the keystone is something that has been advertised for so long, so far ahead of time. It just needed to be more in every respect.
Yeah, but I
just
think
thought it was
so.
firmly middle of the road. It was fine. I would probably have spoken about it in probably much more higher terms if this was Justice League issue 61.
I think I would be harder on it if I didn't know that comics are now being written for trade paperbacks. You know, I think I would be harder on
DC have said they weren't supposed to be doing that anymore, though. That was one of the things that was said as part of the retailer.
But that's the way they're made. Comics are made to be sold at Barnes & Noble or Amazon as a trade paperback. And that's why I'm fine with it, because, okay, for someone that's interested and wants to see how this universe starts off, they can get they can get, like, you know, a bit of it in this. And then,
but should somebody who drops $4 only get a bit?
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
Right.
I know. But, you know.
Yeah, because it's really kind of punishing the people that are buying it piecemeal per se, because
Oh, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking like on an aesthetic, artistic level. Like
Yeah.
I'm
not,
just saying
I'm
that
plugging
it's harder to
for it.
compare it to Spider Island, the first issue of Spider Island, because it's a different situation. I mean, this is not the beginning of just a story. This is the first issue of the comic. Like I said, it's
But
you've
but
had Dan
it's
Slott's
only the first
written.
issue. It's only the first issue of the comic because they put the number back to 1. Don't
I
forget the
know.
prelude issue to Spider Island covered a million subplots and it must have had more than a dozen characters involved in it, which were all solidly and safely introduced in the span of 30 pages. And this manages 3, and one of them appears in the last 2.
Yeah, but again, there's where the accessibility comes in. You don't want like the 50 million subplots, which I love them. But like if my dad was to read it, for example, I keep going back to my dad. My dad's not stupid. I'm just using him as an example. But like if he was to read Spider Island, he would like be totally lost. Now, if he read this, he would totally understand what was going on. He would be like, "Hey, I bet that football player guy is going to wind up being a hero," and he wouldn't. He doesn't even know who Cyborg is. You would probably read it and be like, I wonder why they're focusing on that guy. I bet he's going to wind up being a superhero. But then he could probably just look at the cover and see also.
Yeah.
I bet the next,
he's gonna be that
yeah,
guy.
I mean that's the thing. Well, he's the only black guy on there. But then he would probably say, "Well, where's the rest of it? You're telling me you paid $4 for this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
I'm
can't
gonna
argue
take
that.
your allowance away, boy."
Yeah, you can't argue the price, but that's just the problem. I mean, comics are. I mean, that's it. I mean, they're
Price
$4.
is price, but when it's accessibility versus quality of content. I paid $4 for this, and I got 3 times the amount of stuff that was in this.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we'll see though. I mean, we've got next week is going to be big. In terms of we've got a lot of comics.
Tar the whole 52 with this one brush, but
No.
It's definitely suffered for being so overhyped.
Yeah. But I think we'll see. We're going into the next. I'm interested to see what some non-comic readers, think and stuff. So,
Like I
Well,
said,
I feel
my
like it-
my girlfriends didn't mind it, so
yeah, I mean that's good. I think that's a positive. So,
The real test will be, if they go back for number 2.
yeah, exactly.
Now, these are going to be cheaper after a while digitally, aren't they? They're not going to be
Yeah.
$4.
Yeah, they
They're
drop.
gonna be, what, like $2 or something?
Yeah, they drop I think half price or something.
They drop
like that.
they drop a buck.
Drop a buck.
They
Okay,
drop a buck.
$2. So
Okay.
whatever, $1, $2. So. Okay, that's it. There you go. New 52. It's out there. Next week, big week. We'll have
Yes, Batgirl, Action, Detective, Swamp Thing, Animal Man.
Comics!
we'll finally get to see what all
It could
that
be,
is about.
could be all new 52 next week.
So,
Yeah.
yep. So big stuff.
Wow.
All right. Well, hey,
I'm excited for Batgirl. That's the one I'm.
I
excited.
am. I know.
Definitely.
Yep.
We'll be. Hopefully, there'll be
We'll be
awesome
talking about that.
characters.
Talking about Action Comics, definitely as well. We'll see. Probably talk. Well, I don't know. Want to talk about Swamp Thing if it's good too.
Yeah. Hopefully, there'll be some
I think
awesome
those are,
characters that you
those
can
are the
read.
only 3 I've got this week: is Batgirl, Action, and Swamp Thing.
JLI. I think.
JLI.
Yeah.
I think JLI is out too. So I've got that.
I'm going to pick up the first issue of Demon Knight. Is it shipping?
No.
remember.
No.
Nope.
Yeah,
Okay.
This week.
So, okay, so check us out online, fanboyversus.com, tfradio.net. Join us live Sundays, 4:30 Eastern, 9:30 GMT, tfradio.net/live for the live show. We have a nice video format thing that we've got going, so sometimes the numbering's even right. So you can check that out. If you're really interested in comic news, go to comicnewseye.com. We kind of check out the news and get stuff and information from them, so you can check them out as well. Again, we all have our own Twitter feeds. If you can go to the video, you can check that out as well. You can also go to tfradio.net, and our Twitters are listed there as well. So follow us on the show as well. It's another great reason to follow us on Twitter. The show is Fanboy VS, at Fanboy VS. We live tweet during the show, so feel free to interact with us. We try to follow that. I don't. I leave that to like Nicole and Triplet because I'm not very good at multitasking. So So anyway, so that's the show. Again, tune in next week. We're going to have lots of cool stuff. New 52 stuff is going to be out, so we'll be talking about, like I said, Batgirl and all those things. So pick those up. Read along with us. And, again, give us some feedback. Tell us what you think. We're interested in what you think about, this first issue of Justice League, the New 52. We'll do some interactive stuff there. So anything else, gang, before we leave? No? Nothing?
Nope.
Going once? Going twice?
Can't think of anything.
So, all right. Well, again, thanks so much for tuning in. And please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus...
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.